Let's get this Bach mitzvah off the fucking chain, boy. Hello, cruel world, and welcome to another criminally created cream pie chronicled by a cop. Deadly doings in dire straits while kicking around doing detective deeds, swimming in swampy spots while waiting on my fellow SWATs. Uncle Gary got the cops called on him for grinding on a blind lady who he thought was paying him for sexual healing. Episode of the Days Grimm. My name is Brian Michael Day.
My name is Thomas Grimm.
What's up, dude?
Not much, another beautiful day to record.
Dude, my headset feels weird. I feel like echoey right now, dude.
I don't think you are.
I'm doing good?
Yeah.
I'm going to be honest with you. I've just been doing a lot of crying today.
Really? Normally that should be me for the concussion, Really emotional.
Like 20 minutes ago, I was cutting onions, dude. Them red bitches, dude. Fuck.
And red onions are good, though.
I'm still tearing up, man. What do you call it? It's not a Vidalia. What's the red one called?
I don't fucking know.
The purple ones, you know what I'm saying?
A purple onion?
Those motherfuckers just make me shout, make me wanna fucking shout. And then I start crying just profusely, tears of sadness and just, really just thinking about the rest of my day and how horrible it's going to go. So, until I got to the podcast to see you, my beautiful friend, in your fucking Olive Garden shirt.
You like this?
You look fucking ridiculous, dude. You look like Aladdin.
They came from Europe.
You look like the son of Aladdin and Ryan Gosling.
Like the monkey. What was his name?
Okay, whoa, dude, it's 2022, bro.
Whoa.
Just fucking chill out, man. Jesus Christ, you can't say shit like that.
Well.
Anyways, without further ado, hit him with that intro.
Joining us this week in the Days Grimm studio is a gentleman with over 25 years of law enforcement history. 5 years in patrol, 5+ years in narcos, 6+ years in FBI, 8+ years in sex crime, and 9+ years in SWAT. Mike Kennedy, how are you doing today?
Sheesh.
Fantastic.
That's
Glad
quite
to be here.
quite a roster.
Slinging that fucking long dick, dude. You got that career fucking on lock, dude.
I had a lot of fun.
That's a handful of shit.
How old were you when you got involved or started in law enforcement?
Man, you never ask a man his age. Come on, or
No,
is that
you just
women?
ask,
I don't know how it
I
works.
got sworn in when I was 23 years old. Just a
Sworn
baby.
in at 23,
Yes.
dude?
I knew nothing.
That's fucking insane,
Just a
dude.
baby.
So,
Learned real quick.
how wild was that at 20? Because what were you doing at 23 before you got sworn in? You just goofing around playing fucking Halo?
I mean, literally,
what do you do at?
I graduated from college in December of 1995. And in March of 1996, I was hired and sworn in.
And what did you go to college for?
Criminal justice
Okay.
at Murray State.
Represent Murray
Yep.
State. Shout out Kentucky.
That's right.
Dude, they just got a lot of not laws in Kentucky when it comes to trailers. I don't know if you have to be familiar.
No idea what you're talking about.
Trailers in Kentucky can just be like a fucking soapbox with some toothpicks and one wheel. No goddamn registration. No
Really?
fucking lights. No fucking nut. They just roll down the street with a baby carriage strapped to the back of their back to their moped,
Wow.
and they're just toting shit in it.
And that's the trailer.
It's bonkers, dude. I saw a dude literally in Henderson not too long ago with a trailer built out of fucking 2x4, out of fucking planks. No lights, no reg, no nothing, no plates. And I think it might have had one wheel because the other wheel was looking a little suspect.
That sounds great until he's in a fatal car accident at 10 o'clock at night because nobody can see him and
Right.
everybody's dead. And then,
Dude, speaking of people fucking dying, man, we do this little tasty treat called the Death of the Week. Are you familiar? Have you had a chance to check out any of the episodes before?
I do know about the death of the week. Yes.
And I'm sure you, as well as myself, know much about many a do people just passing the fuck away. In strange ways, in common ways. Like you're familiar with our old buddy Def
Death
Jams,
Death.
Def Comedy
Def
Jam.
Jams. But yeah, so this week, we're going to roll into the death of the week, brought to you by, if Thomas will move his fucking beverage, these super sick coasters, corn dog development on Etsy, links in the description, promo code.
Days Grimm to save 10%.
There it is. Do it. Don't regret it. Don't do it. Do whatever the fuck you want. Who am I to tell you what to do with your life? So, moving onward. This week's death of the week. Pretty upfront, guys. A California man was sentenced to 20 years in prison on Friday. This is 2017, by the way. On Friday for phoning a false hostage threat to police in Wichita, resulting in the death of an innocent man. The article goes on to read, Tyler Ray Barris, I believe is how you say his name, 26, of Los Angeles, pleaded guilty in November to 51 charges filed by prosecutors in L.A., Kansas, Washington, D.C., in all those areas, according to the U.S. Attorney's Office. Now, I'm going to sum up some of this because I'm actually kind of familiar with the story. So, Tyler Ray Barris, 26 years of age, of L.A. County, was notorious for calling in SWATs. Now, if you're not familiar with SWAT calling is, I highly suggest you go back and listen to Curtis Woosley's episode 42. It was Melon Patch Gaming. We go into great detail. But essentially, this guy calls in a fake hostage situation on a guy that he's playing a video game with across the internet, and the cops rightfully respond. So, the call was later then determined to have originated from Barris, who was arrested several hours later in connection with death. And that's the individual who passed away. Essentially, Mr. exits the home in confusion and total disarray, has no idea what's happening. Cop lights everywhere, people shouting at him. They think he's got a hostage. He puts his hands up. A cop says, put your hands forward. He gets confused, puts his hands to his pocket. Cop throws one right through his shoulder. And Mr. goes to the ground. Not great. Not a great story. Not super thrilled about it. That's this week's death of the week.
We talked about this in a previous episode, and it's kind of crazy how like video games made this adjustment of like you just teabag people online that you're beating the fuck out of them, you know, and you're talking shit, and like, you know, our generation, Brian and I's generation of like gaming, not, you know, you were online, you were talking mad crap, you know, your parents,
that dookie.
Your parents aren't home yet, you know what I mean, and you're letting whatever fly that you can, and
or you're staying up late whispering, you're a fucking cunt. Whatever you can get out, you know?
And nowadays, you know, you got these mega nerds online that can pull your IP address.
Dude, don't say mega nerd.
You got these mega nerds online.
These fucking nerds.
And they pull your IP address and anything like that. But
dude, seriously.
Did you ever run into anything like this in Evansville?
You know,
or maybe not even Evansville. Have you ever seen a SWAT call or been to a SWAT call or been involved in something like that?
So I was on the EPD SWAT team for some time, and just looking at the details of this particular case, you hate to judge someone while not being there and seeing all the details.
Oh, absolutely.
But I mean, this wouldn't fly in town in Evansville, right? I mean, there's so much stuff going on before, you know, we're surrounding a house and shooting people. I mean, that's the absolute limit of all exhausted options. Right.
It's like the last one.
Right. But I can understand how, you know, I mean, if somebody called in, I mean, cops are going to show up. Looking at the details here, cops are going to show up. There's going to be, you know, a perimeter set up. There's going to be a lot of stuff going on. But until we have, you know, a lot more information, now we may just start calling people out. And if the guy comes out, I mean, you know, he determines his own fate, unfortunately. Right. Whether this is legit or not.
I will make a point, though, just to be very clear. You're right. We don't know all the options. WashingtonPost.com is my source for this particular article. Right. So, somewhat biased. And the only reason I kind of went off the cuff on this story and kind of told my version of it was there's a much better version of this story told through in and throughout, all the gory details. As far as his hands going up, hands going forward, hands going in his pockets. They think he's reaching for a gun, whatever. It's a very controversial case. Obviously, the cop who pulled the trigger, it was just one cop, one round. It wasn't a multiple shootout. but the guy was unarmed, obviously innocent. The story that I got it from was on Netflix, and I will try to think of the name of the show. But if you just Google this Barris guy's name, and in correlation with Mr. who passed away unfortunately, and go to Netflix on Google or whatever, it'll show you what it is. It was like one of those future shows, like the future of gaming or something, or future of technology, and they were explaining how swatting's just gotten out of control. But there's many more details that are not told in this article. That's kind of why I went off the cuff here. But yeah, I would like to say rest in peace, Miss. You are gone and not forgotten in this case. So we're with you, bro. So damn, dude, that's a little sussy. You know what I mean?
It's definitely intense. So we're gonna get into this timeline a little bit, and then we'll get into some fun stories. So,
and we should probably preface: it is going to be the brevity of the timeline will be somewhat more condensed than your regular timeline than what you're used to. And the reason behind that is we are protecting certain individuals that are involved in his past, protecting his family, et cetera, et cetera. So. We've got a rough outline, so yeah. I'll let you go ahead and take the wheel, Thomas.
So in high school, you played baseball, right, Mike?
Terribly.
Terribly. But you were in sports.
Yep.
And we'll just make the point there that you were in sports. We like to make that point. I don't know why. We just do.
Okay.
Athletics at a young age, I think athletics at a young age is important. It teaches some core values and et cetera. But when you get out of high school, do you choose to go right into college for criminal justice?
I did, yep.
What helped you make that decision?
Well, I mean, to be frank, I wanted to be Spiderman or Batman, and those degrees weren't available.
You were like a kid letting spiders bite you for fun.
There's a story behind that. We won't go there. I don't know if I've told you that before.
I don't think so, but...
Yeah, we could cover that.
We kind of got to stop where we're at right now.
Okay.
You got to pick a side. Spider-Man or Batman. You can't go fucking 50-50. Or you could at least go 51-49.
I can go 50-50. If the Spider-Man movie and the Batman movie were opening at the same night, at the same time,
yep,
it'd be a lot of factors involved before I would pick a side.
Damn.
Okay. So it almost happened this past year. The Batman came out.
Okay.
And Spider-Man No Way Home came out.
Uh-huh.
Not at the same time.
Close.
Okay.
But close.
I've seen the Batman 4 times now. Loved it. I've seen the Spider-Man movie just once. 1,000 times better movie.
Really?
Just too much emotion.
Okay.
Right? Just
yeah.
I don't know.
Right.
I've not seen either.
All right. Obviously, 2 different characters.
No,
2 different things going on. But I mean, so here's the story. This is for Tommy. Tommy,
for people that don't know, I'm related.
We're related. Okay, we share some blood somewhere down the line. Right.
We should also preface this interview with they are related. What are you guys, like 4th cousins, twice removed, married in by your aunt, uncle, sister, uncle,
right.
daddy?
I ate at Olive Garden last night, and he served me.
Right. Yeah, and he still hasn't showered or changed.
Yeah,
so, still got the uniform on.
Jerry Seinfeld puffy shirt.
Dude, just drop one more button because you got half a nip out right now, dude. Seriously, like, just fucking pop that thing off, man. It's fucking ridiculous.
So when I was 6 or 7 years old,
this story for Thomas. Yes, correct.
I wanted to be Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm.
So in my 6 or 7-year-old mind, I had to get a radioactive spider. So I took a glass mason jar.
No.
Wrapped some copper wiring around the top, the lip, right? Wrapped that around a lamp, a light bulb. Okay. I put a spider inside the jar.
Okay.
I turn the lamp on. So in my mind, the lamp is sending
signal
radioactivity into the jar to the spider, which of course I want to bite me. But it's not working fast enough. I don't see any kind of,
change.
I hope it's not a brown recluse.
So I take a wet wash rag and throw it on top of a hot light bulb. Which instantly explodes. And that's the end of that experiment. But in my 6-year-old mind, that was going to generate the electricity to shock the spider, and then I was going to let the spider bite me. I was going to get the Spider-Man powers.
I'm going to be honest with you. I think I can top that.
Oh, I would love to hear this because that is about as embarrassing as it gets.
I'm dumber than you, I promise.
Let's hear it.
When I was 4 or 5, granted I was a couple years younger than you. I'm like barely cruising on my own, like walking, right? Like barely.
Right.
I still got chubby knees. You know what I mean? Like
Your runner's knees haven't came in yet.
Dude, yeah, like I got fat knees. That's how you know that you're still a kid. Like you got fat fucking knees, dude. And I was like, man, I loved Pop-Tarts, and my mom wasn't waking up early enough to make me a Pop-Tart, so I like seen her do it 1,000 times. I was like, I can fucking make a goddamn Pop-Tart. I was like, fucking whatever, dude. I grabbed this Pop-Tart, fucking open up the microwave, chuck that bitch in there, hit start, 30 seconds, let it rip, microwave, catches on fire. Boom. Didn't take the wrapper off.
Oh, nice.
So cheers to you, Mom. Sorry, I fucked up your microwave.
The old tinfoil in the microwave.
Yeah, bro. I was so fucking dumb as a kid.
Gotta rest her soul. Yeah. House burned to the ground.
So it's safe to say that from a young age, though, you kind of wanted to be a hero in some way.
I did. And, when I was a patrolman, we had wear body armor under our uniforms. So about after my first year on, I went to the mall and had the Batman symbol airbrushed on my body armor. So I worked the inner city. The 5 years that I was a patrolman, I worked the inner city.
What's the opposition to that? Just so you have to treat me very, very, I'm very dumb. Let's just say, just treat me as I am. So if you work for EPD, there's the inner city and then there's what?
So back in the day, there was 4 sectors. South, east, there's 3 sectors. South, east, west.
Okay.
South is south of 41.
Okay.
And basically west, or south of the Lloyd, south of the Lloyd.
Okay.
And west of 41.
Okay.
Except for a few outliers.
That sounds like a sweet spot right there.
Well, it was fun. It's like working in the big city.
Yeah.
I mean, your robberies and your rapes and your burglaries and all your shootings.
And west and east is just north of the Lloyd, and 41's your divider?
Yes, and east and west were a lot bigger, and you had everything from all the crime to your
DUIs, booze cruising, knuckleheads.
Right, and that's changed because nowadays it's everywhere. There's not like, you work south, you're a badass because you're humping it, all day long. Well, now it's everywhere. You work east, you work west. I mean, you're getting sent. If you work as far north and west in the city, if that's your area, you're going to make a run as far south and east as possible before the day's over because they're so understaffed and they're so busy. And there's not, you're just bumping call to call to call and you don't know where you're going to be.
Excuse me.
And it's just hectic.
Oh, I do want to rewind on this timeline a little bit.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So we're 25.
I just want to know what college was like for criminal justice. Like when you go for criminal justice, do they teach you how to be? Is it like the police academy, or is it more so?
There's a lot of law, a lot of procedure stuff, the history of policing, and then you have like the history of corrections, the history, a lot of legal stuff as far as just laws in general, but. A lot of cool stuff if you like the field trip type stuff where like we went to there's a prison in Eddyville, Kentucky, a maximum security prison. We went there and toured it, and at the last hour of the day, we participated in like a state police training exercise. We always had guest speakers. I was in college right when the OJ murder / arrest / trial was going on. So like every day we were watching the trial. And you talk about great debate.
Oh, right. Dude.
Imagine being the jury and then imagine being everybody else seeing all the information the jury couldn't see, and just, so that was great. Just, to get a grasp on whether you wanted to be
from start to finish,
a police officer or a prosecutor or a defense attorney, you're seeing the way the whole thing played out,
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was pretty neat.
I have to be honest with you. I agree with you. OJ was innocent. I'm glad we cleared that up.
Yeah, I didn't say that. Fake news. Something about Washington Post.
Yeah, bro. Yeah, it was back on Washington Post. That's where I read that.
So when you're training in the police academy, I do have some questions. Did you get maced and tased?
So here's how old I am. There were no tasers back in the day.
Wow.
Damn.
When I went to the police academy, it was 1996. It was April 1st, 96 to July 24th, 96. And that was up in Plainfield, which is where the Indiana Law Enforcement Academy still is.
And what were the months on that again? How long is it, I guess?
It's changed. Then it was April 1st through July 24th.
So only a couple of months.
Yeah, it's like 12 weeks. And then we came back, and Evansville does their own thing, which is like another 6 weeks. Okay. That's all changed now. There's
supplemental training.
Yes, like Evansville has their own academy that they bring in outside agencies, and I got to be honest, 1,000 times better.
You guys actually do some stuff with Lawman Tactical. I went out and filmed some stuff
Yes,
while the
Lawman
police
is
they had-
cutting edge of police tactics
Lawman
and
is
training.
They
tickets.
actually they had they went out to Boonville, I want to say, and they have like a fake house with no roof, and I got to fly
Yes.
the drone while they got to go through the rooms, and it was
Awesome,
so
yes.
cool
The
to
shoot
watch them
house,
clear
basically,
from
yeah.
above.
Was that at Red Brush? Is that what he's talking
No,
about?
not at Red Brush.
They got the FOP have a place out in Warwick County then, or is that what that is?
This was by that soccer field where they found that girl that was dead.
Okay.
Oh, shit.
The Alcoa Fields. Or
Yeah,
whatever.
somewhere around there, out
That's
there.
near Red
So
Brush.
training. It sounds like it.
I think you're thinking of Red Brush. It's a big training facility. It's a
It
big
might
range.
be. I really don't recall. I know that it was lined up. I mean, there was off duty, and I mean the whole parking lot was just full.
So Lawman is cutting edge, as they utilize like working cops. You know, guys who
I
are
love that too.
at the top of the game. Right.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not going to bag on the Indiana Law Enforcement Academy, but when I went through back in 1996, you had some squared away instructors, and then you had some guys who were there after they served 2 years on, Chandler Police Department, and they're teaching you how to do things, and it's obviously not up to speed on what you need.
Right.
I mean, today's academy, because you're bringing a guy who just worked the street yesterday, and he's teaching you about patrol tactics. You got a detective, you got a lawyer, you've got, SWAT guys teaching you a whole week-long SWAT class. I mean,
Right.
I'm sure there's some psychology involved too.
There's a lot of psych in criminal justice college, right?
Absolutely right.
Yeah, there's a
And
lot of psychology.
and
psychological.
you start getting into this things like, well, is it why do they commit crimes, or who cares? Eventually, I mean, that's interesting stuff to
Right.
talk about, think about. If you could get paid for a career to analyze stuff, that'd be awesome. But it doesn't matter, because as a cop, you're showing up and dealing with a problem.
Right.
You want to solve a problem as permanently as possible on a temporary basis. If that makes sense.
100%, and in very brash terms as well. Like when cops show up, it's never like, "Oh, the cops are here."
Right.
It's always fucking bonkers.
Right.
Yeah,
It's funny you say that.
It's never
you
like
see-
peaceful.
You ever see a guy driving around? He's got the fire department sticker and the fire department swag on his car. That's awesome. Everybody loves a fireman.
Oh yeah,
Right? They show up.
love
They
firefighters.
take
dude.
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah.
Nobody wants to drive around with your cop swag on your car. Your tires get flattened, your windows broken, because nobody calls the cops until it's the worst day ever,
Until they're needed.
and nobody's happy with the outcome.
Yeah,
And
someone's
that's just-
dog's dead, a window's kicked in, their Uncle Gary's running down the road with the only other live pet from the house.
I mean, a thousand.
It's an iguana.
scenarios.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
So did you ever do a ride along before you decided to do this?
I did a ride along down in Kentucky several times with like a patrol officer and then like a plainclothes guy, and I mean, I'd already drank the Kool-Aid. I was
Right.
ready to rock and roll.
Right.
So
you were,
it was
you
just
were in.
I was just trying to like pad a resume,
So did you do 5 years of patrol first? Was that where you stared?
and that's where everybody starts.
Okay.
At least like around town.
Is that the increment too? Like you have to do a
No.
minimum 5 years, or
I mean,
could you just be super high speed and be like, "Yo, get fucking Johnson on SWAT"?
oh
yesterday.
yeah. I mean, you come in and you've got
squared the fuck away.
You've got the hash marks on your belt, and you're an operator overseas, and you're squared away.
Yeah.
Leader of men. It all depends, but 5 years is usually before you get put into a specialized unit. Give or take a year. I mean, you want to be able to be experienced in the way the job works, your department works,
100%.
the
You
criminal
want
justice
the
system.
area, even because maybe
100%.
you weren't born and
Right.
raised there, and you're working in
Right,
Kansas
right.
City, and you've not
Right.
even.
And you can't be specialized if you can't get along with administrators and prosecutors, and it takes a while to kind of get that whole thing under your belt. So 5 years is a good give or take type tool.
Anything crazy or cool happened in this 5 years
yeah,
that
what's
you want to
a
touch
highlight?
on?
What's a patrol?
Like- or like a
Listen,
quick synopsis of like what overview.
I got this.
Where do you
I
went
got
to
this.
next?
From your 5 years as a patrolman, you get one story to tell, and you're telling this
One-
story on stage. You know what I'm saying? And because technically, I mean, we're on a stage right now.
Okay.
So from your 5 years, I think we should do this for every big gap too. So during your patrol years, what's the one story that just blew your fucking mind, and obviously that you can share?
So I'm gonna be kind of lazy and go with one that I tell a lot
That's fine.
because it's
That means it's polished.
it's a PG-13 story.
Okay, perfect.
And every cop worth his weight, worth his salt, is going to encounter this sometime in his career, and it's having to respond to and arrest a naked dude.
Oh, I love that.
Okay, all right.
Love
So I mean, everybody's been there, right? And
Fuck yeah.
the longer you're a patrolman, the more you see this. And this happened back in the day, like I said earlier, before tasers. Okay, tasers, if it works, which is not all the time, it'd be great if it did. That's a quick end to this story. But these weren't even a dream in somebody's mind.
Right.
So this is pre-tase.
So this is the expandable baton, the pepper spray, and that's it. So here's how the story went. So I worked second shift in the inner city, and we worked it was a deal where you either worked 2 days, 2 to 10, or 2 days, 3 to 11, 3 p.m. to 11 p.m. So we came on shift, and we get the car, and I'm riding with a partner. If you worked in the hot areas, you have a partner. It's just safe. You get more police work done.
Oh, absolutely.
Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
So we're rolling through, and the first call we get right out of the chute, and it's
3 o'clock in the
3
afternoon.
o'clock. There's a naked man, high as a kite, causing a disturbance, and it's like the 700 block. It's like Blackford or Chandler.
He's probably on like PCP or something.
Who cares,
Right.
right? He's naked. He's out, and there's kids everywhere,
Oh man.
and multiple calls. So I mean, inner city is a small area, so we get the call, and we're there within 30 seconds. We turn the corner, and it's just, you can see there's just a crowd, and everybody's pointing. There's kids. I mean, elementary school kids just got off the bus, walking home, and they're standing there laughing and pointing and screaming. The neighbors are all out, and there's a guy, and
What's he doing?
he's butt naked, and it's a black dude. He's probably 6'3".
Oh, big fella.
He probably weighs about 175 pounds, not an ounce
skinny
of fat
fella.
on him.
Okay,
I
skinny
mean,
fella.
just a
beanpole.
wiry, he's probably 40 years old, a wiry, tall,
And he popped up on something.
sweaty,
Oh, yeah, he's on something.
drenched in sweat, naked as can be, right?
Yeah.
And he's on the sidewalk in front of this house, not his house.
That's the Lord's jumpsuit, by the way.
It is, yes.
Yeah.
It must have been his birthday.
Or your birthday
Right.
suit.
It's his birthday
Whatever you
suit,
want to
right.
refer to it as.
So I mean, you're like, well, here we go.
Got to talk to
Right?
him.
Wow, there's no talking to this dude. I mean,
Get that dick over here,
right. So and honestly, that's going up that it's going to hit you.
You're
right?
going to get a
There's no
dick.
way- yeah,
You're
right.
getting a dick to somewhere.
That
right.
penis is going to be on you somewhere.
You hope it's an
Hopefully-
elbow.
Right, yes.
You hope it's your
Because
back.
there's no taser from 15, 20 feet. Right?
Nah, dude.
Right.
You got to put your hands on the guy. You try to talk, but the guy's naked at 3 p.m. In May. He's not going to listen to what you have to say.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's turned up.
He's
So
not making sense.
as we show up and we're in a car, we got uniforms on. As we walk up, and we're stop. Hey, what's going on?
Put your dick away.
Yes, please.
Tuck it back.
Tuck
The
it.
good thing is, hey, there's no weapons involved. You don't have to
Right.
worry about him reaching into a pocket or
Yeah,
going
he's
to
not
his waist.
concealed unless
No.
he's got something in the cheeks.
Right.
You gotta
yes.
be careful.
All right. So, we walk up and he's just walking back from the sidewalk to the front yard up onto a porch of a 2-story house that's cut into apartments, and it's not his. So now he's on the porch, and now there's a crowd, and we're like, man, stop. You need to stop. You're just trying to make, hey, like, what's going on? Why are you like this?
Yeah.
Why
What's
are
happening?
you sweaty, naked, 3 p.m., May 15th,
Why are you
Right.
sweaty?
on a Tuesday?
Yeah.
And it's just gibberish. It doesn't make any sense.
Methamphetamines.
So, you have to put hands on, and like, again, it's swinging. He's
Did it hit you?
slippery. I mean,
He's slippery.
I don't have any, like,
He doesn't
anything
have
burned in my
recollection.
mind.
You don't have like PTSD from a
I got
post-traumatic
PTSD, but
dick,
It's not from the
post-traumatic dick syndrome.
Post-traumatic, PTDS.
Yeah, PTSD. You don't have post-traumatic dick syndrome,
no,
do you?
I mean, I'm telling the story so many
I
times.
just got to check in on my guys, dude. I
Right,
care about
right,
my
right, right.
warriors, dude.
Right. No flashbacks from this. Because,
Okay, good.
I mean, you grab him, and it's like grabbing a piece of, sushi. Oh, yeah, it's slip and sliding.
Yeah.
He's sweaty, and we're fighting, and we're wrestling, and pepper spray comes out, but it's
Nobody wins with that, right?
no.
No,
So, I mean,
no.
you physically can't get control of him. I mean, he's naked.
And slipping.
And you're worried about a penis.
You can't do a choke or not. Like you're literally.
I mean, a choke would be ideal. A
But he's slipping out of it.
Oh yeah, you can't. No, there's no maintaining.
That's what I mean.
control.
There's no cloth choke
There's
or
nothing.
anything. You
Right,
got no
right.
pants.
Getting
nothing.
behind him doing a rear literal naked choke would be great, but that's not happening.
That's the Father Nelson choke.
That's long before jiu-jitsu was introduced.
The BJJ was
into
in
my life. Or yes,
Yeah.
And so and then when we get hands on, we go to the ground. He breaks free. He grabs the storm door that leads upstairs to this house. And he gets about 3 steps up, and we grab him again, and we're basically just dragging him.
Each person
down.
got a leg.
Oh God, that's
and
gross.
we get him on the ground, and there's more pepper spray being induced, and everybody's getting it, and now he's hurting because he's sweaty, so his pores are open.
Oh, and he's getting beat up too.
And we're punching him. He's swinging.
He's falling and slipping and he's getting hit.
Right,
like,
yes, yeah.
Not by you guys, but he's getting hit by the ground and by you.
And we're punching him, and he's swinging at us, and there's a penis involved, and
there's a dick
and children
around.
Laughing. Probably,
dude.
Talk about PTSD. There's probably 50 kids from the 700 block of Chandler that are still never recovered. But eventually,
shout out to Chandler, bro.
Yeah.
So
shout out to East
he's
Chandler
handcuffed.
Street. And we get him out of there.
And he's obviously out of his mind.
And you put him in the car, dick out.
So, well, no, we don't. Once he's secured, we call for an ambulance. They're in the inner city. They're there pretty quick. They're staging nearby.
Oh yeah, they're like the Thorntons or something.
Oh yeah,
sipping on a Slurpee.
Ambulance have been doing that for years. Where to save gas, they park in areas and then they can just drive.
Quick pick, which ages me, but they're there pretty quick. Get a sheet wrapped around them.
Oh yeah,
They have the sterile sheets, and calm his ass down and get him in some air conditioning because he is overheated.
He's losing
whatever
his
he's
mind.
on. Probably cocaine induced psychosis,
or maybe methamphetamine is probably more like.
This is 1997.
Was meth not really around?
Well, it was.
It was
but
coming
that's
around,
in the white community. Now there's knows no gender, no bias. But back in the day, it was crack, black,
crank,
and crank for the white people.
Really?
Now it's just however they can make money.
That's fair. That's fair. Get that hustle, guys.
We didn't stick around to find out.
Get that hustle, I guess.
Yeah, no shit. That's literally what it is.
So yeah. They got to make money.
Fentanyl comes in a pill now.
Yeah,
and it doesn't smell. A dog's going to find it.
Well, I saw a thing the other day. This article talking about don't pick money up on the ground because people are putting it in money on the ground, and like you're picking it up and it's getting through your fingers and stuff. But that's besides the deal. We're not going to get into that.
Let's move on.
After I can be honest with you, I stopped at the Thorntons on the way over here. I saw a quarter. I picked it up.
Well, I don't think
my man. Dude.
Times are tough all over.
Hey, I'm 3/4 Jewish, dude. I understand.
Bill Gates said if you're too rich to pick a penny off the ground, you have too much money.
That's a fact, dude. And that's BG, dude.
But
that's coming from
besides
B. Gates.
the point. So what do you do after patrol, and what makes you make that switch?
So, back in the day, going to a specialized unit was pretty much merit based. Okay, so I busted my butt. We made a lot of drug arrests. Of course, it was like shooting fish in a barrel. Working the inner
city, yeah.
Yes,
dude.
Easy, right? But you can make a marijuana arrest all day long.
You could say hi to a guy and be like, "Empty your pocket."
Yeah, and
he's like,
right.
"Fuck."
But you're making cocaine busts and crack busts.
Yeah.
And a lot of gun. Man, if you caught a burglar in the act, that was a big deal.
That's sweaty.
Right.
That's hot.
Anybody can stop a dude and find some crack in the inner city.
Right.
But you find a dude, you catch a guy just committed a burglary or a robbery, you're lucky, number one, you're in the right place at the right time, or you're just a shit hot, knowing the way things are, knowing the way things work.
No, the way the city
situational
works.
awareness. Dude.
Absolutely. And
that van's never been there before.
Here's a good story. Right when I got out of the academy, I'm with a training officer, and I'm working day shift, east side.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, what a snooze fest.
Lame.
This is gonna suck. I'm gonna
Just
be
white bitches and
I'm gonna be at the I'm gonna be at Eastland Mall. A shoplifter. Blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
But I got with a 10-year experienced guy who knew what police work was. And I think third day in, we get dispatched to a theft of a teacher's purse from an elementary school. That's
right.
So it was our beat. So we're the first car. They send 2 cars. We're the first car, and we're driving, and we're like 4 or 5 minutes away. Well, I start heading right to the school.
Oh,
My training officer's like, "Don't no." He goes, "Stop, start driving west until I say, and then start driving south." And I don't, it happened at. I'm trying to think of what school it was. Well, he knew. He knew right off the top of his head where the school was. what the main thoroughfares were. Is like that. This information was a black male walked into a school, asked the school secretary for a phone book to look up a phone number.
Yeah.
And then while she turned away, he grabbed her purse off the desk,
Yikes.
ran out, got onto a bike, and took off they call in directions like away from the school going towards whatever.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking, okay, black male on the bike. So I start heading to the school. Well, that's how stupid I am. Naive. He's not there. He's not
gone,
even
bro.
near there.
He's
We're
on a
going to be
bike.
there. Right. So my 10-year,
Scooting.
Steve Green's his name, 10-year guy, Army veteran, good cop, long since retired.
Whoop.
He's like, nope, start driving west until I say, and then start driving south. And
Yep.
sure enough, we drove. I don't even know what to do. Like, I'm thinking we got to go to the school. We got to take a report. Somebody else is going to take a report. We're going to go out there and do some police work. Okay.
Snag this mofo.
Yeah. So literally, I drive west a half a mile, and then I drive south a half a mile. And he goes, turn right. And he goes, what was the description? It said black male on a bicycle. He goes, there he is.
Boom.
I'm like, holy shit.
Drop kick him off that
So
goddamn
he's
bike.
driving. He's driving. Well, you're real close to that.
Is he holding the damn purse?
So
No, he opens the door.
you know this story?
No, I don't. But I was just
So
guessing.
Steve is driving.
Yeah.
He goes, he turns on the lights and sirens so the guy knows we're after him.
So now he's hustling.
Yes, we're on Riverside Drive and we're just west of Bakey Road. Right. It's just a strip of street.
Right.
He comes flying, guy in the car driving. We come flying up. He goes, when I say now, open your door. I'm like, what? He goes, open your door and hit
And this
him.
is Terry in the car, your driver?
Steve.
Or
Steve's
Steve?
driving, yes.
Okay.
Right. And also, black dude.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
FDO. He's a black dude. He's a great dude. He goes, when we get up, he goes, open your door and bang him off this bicycle. I'm like, what? He goes, open the door and bang him off the bike. I'm like, all right.
Bop.
I'm like, here we go. This is day shift east side. I'm like 3 days out of the training. So he comes flying up, lights are on. The guy looks back and sees us, and he's doing his best, Evel Knievel, pumping those pedals, trying to go on
maybe top 15
on his
miles
stolen
an hour.
BMX bike,
Yeah.
If he was smart, he cuts through the yard and through some houses and takes off for a double back. We never catch him. We get right up, and I open the door, and he goes, hit him. And boom, hit him, flies off the bike.
Bink.
I jump out. I jump right on top because he's sprawled out flat.
Oh,
I
yeah.
jump right on top of him. Put my hands basically on his neck because I hold him down on the ground. I look up, and Steve's got a gun pointed at his head. He goes, cuff him up. We cuffed him up.
Yep.
Right? He went through, found credit cards, no purse. He ditched the purse. Finds the credit cards, find the cash.
Is he was smart enough to drop the purse?
Yeah, right. They all do
Yeah.
that. I mean, the purse is right there at the scene. I guarantee it.
Yeah.
Put him in the back of the car. He goes, tell him we're headed to headquarters. We drive. This is how cool it was back in the late 90s, or mid to late 90s. Drove down there, took him in, asked for a detective, dropped him off. We left.
And the paperwork got
I didn't do any
filed.
paperwork.
That's awesome.
Peace out, bro.
So nowadays,
and you just got to drop kick somebody with your
I
damn
mean, I
door.
opened a door on a dude, jumped on him, watched another guy screw a gun into his ear,
Yeah.
solved the crime. I'm like, this is the best
Piece
job.
of cake, dude.
And I just learned so much.
And so much fun, too.
Oh, yeah.
That's like
Yeah.
that's like some high speed
Right.
like movie shit. Like
I mean, that's 3 days out of the academy.
Right. 3 days
you
out.
want to you go ahead and do
Yeah.
the honors, dude.
Every
So-
time we crack a beer, we
God bless you.
thanks. So back to the you're in patrol for 5 years. What made you? So you climbed the ladder basically, and then they were like, you get to choose from these options, or were you like,
Well, I mean, you have to show interest in where you want to be. And after working 5 years in the inner city and making a lot of drug arrests and a lot of good arrests, I mean, drug arrests are easy. Like I said, burglary, robbery.
You could say hi to a guy and pull some weed out. Yeah.
Right, absolutely. You make good quality police arrests, like what we just talked
Right.
about with the purse snatching. That's a good quality GOFPW, good old fashioned police work.
Oh,
You do that, you show some common sense and ability to take direction. You start like kind of unofficially applying like
you're
street
setting,
knowledge?
setting yourself aside from your peers.
you are, and then you kind of like, do I want to be a detective, work robbery, homicide?
Yeah.
I mean, if you work homicide today, you're working homicides all the time.
Every day.
Every day. Back in the day, it was a burglary, a theft, a robbery. A
Evansville in 2022 is 6 people died last week.
Yeah,
Well,
right,
more than that.
right.
I
There's a
mean-
shooting every day.
Yeah.
The detectives are working their dicks in the dirt, getting no help from anybody.
And-
So anyway,
Yeah. Onward.
I like making the drug arrests and chasing, getting out and car chases and foot chases.
Oh fuck yeah.
And getting in fights. And all
That
kind
shit
of
gets
stuff.
me hot, dude.
So it's great stuff. So I would start the last couple of years on patrol, I would start working with these narcotics detectives.
Fuck yeah.
And when they had a hot stop they wanted to make, or they wanted somebody to pat down or somebody identified, they would start calling guys they knew were squared away.
Yeah.
And so they would call us. Yeah. It was a big deal when we first got cell phones in the police cars. They'll be like, hey, call us right away. Hey, can you come up to China Express? We need to get 2 guys identified. Turns out an hour ago, they made a drug buy, about an ounce of crack from a dude. They didn't know who he was. But they knew that he drives this blue car. He's wearing a red shirt. He goes by this street name. And right now he's buying food at the China Express at Lincoln and Morton.
And these detectives are on him, and they're waiting for y'all.
They're plain clothes. They're back. They're like, roll up, act like you had a noise complaint, ID 4 dudes, make sure the guy in the red shirt and the black shorts is one of the guys you ID.
Mm-hmm.
And we do that. We go up and play it off. And like, FYI, we got hidden cameras on telephone poles.
Mm-hmm.
We're watching everything.
Yeah.
So we roll up and we're like, hey guys, how we doing? Blah, 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 blah. And yeah, hey, can we, let me get your ID. Let me get your ID. All right. We leave. Like, all right, this is Jimmy Smith. And this is his date of birth. This is address. Boom. We just made their case. Right. They're like, hey, he did a good job. He didn't blow our cover. He didn't, act like an idiot and draw a gun and throw people on the ground. And you keep doing that. You start stopping cars. You start hitting hot drug houses and making good quality arrests.
Or even like houses next to drug houses.
Or called
like neighbors
involved. Called in to assist on these.
Yes.
That's what's up, man. So you go from there so you go from patrol. They know you're squared away. They know you're tight. They know you're just fucking, you know what I mean?
Right.
And you're a good dude. And you've got a good instinct on you. So what department or what specialty? You go to detective.
So I went to the narcotics unit.
So you go to narco.
Yes.
As a detective.
Yes.
Right. Okay. And then what's that like? What does that entail? What does that look like, I guess?
Yeah.
So at the time, you work a second shift. I worked Tuesday through Saturday. And
oh, that's kind of dope.
Yeah. And you show up and, there's some paperwork involved. So
yeah,
patrol guys make an arrest.
That sucks.
And they make a felony drug case.
You're on the shit end of the stick now.
Well,
now you're picking up their paperwork.
Stuff, but that's not that big a deal, really. Yeah. But then you're like, all right, you got to start developing informants, gathering intel, doing surveillance on drug houses, and start making cases. And it's a pressure-packed situation based upon your work ethic and how well you do the job. And
do they drug test in narcos?
Absolutely. And
how does that work? Because you work for narcos in LA. You know what I'm saying? I've seen Train Day.
Right.
Right. You know what I'm saying? So like you can't get an informant if you're clean.
Right.
You're not getting one.
Right. And so when I worked, I made detective in the narcotics unit in January of 2001.
Damn, dude. Rest in peace, 9/11, dude. Respect. Remember, never forget.
Yeah. So I immediately became, after about 6 months, became the go-to undercover guy. It's just something that I was good at. But
just being a civvy.
I was told change your appearance.
Yeah.
You got to start parking your car. Cut out all your law enforcement stuff.
Grow your hair out.
Yeah. So I'm like you. I'm follically challenged, but I had a long beard. Earrings.
You had to pour. You even told me you had to pour beer on yourself at times.
I did when we went into undercover areas,
a sticky spot.
Well, if I worked a bar or something like that.
Can you tell the chili story,
guy, dude? He's like, can you tell the one? Come on,
the
chili story,
Daddy. Can you tell the?
There was a guy in the bar starting drama, and he went to his car and got a bat.
Oh yes, was that Chili Willys, right?
Yeah.
All right, I'll get to that. So. Anyway, where was I going? See, I'll have a garden interrupted.
Well, and I also
breadsticks.
Well, if we
how good would a breadstick be? Right?
If we have to cut this segment out, it's cool. But I want
smack the shit.
I want to know
if you're gonna right now.
Isn't there a fridge story? Or something happened.
Let the man explain what being a detective.
I don't know if you can tell that or not.
No, the fridge.
Can he explain what being a detective?
Yeah. Sorry, I just wanted to get those two little.
All right, so being a detective,
right.
So you're changing your appearance. That's what they advise you to do because they have chosen you now,
right?
Because
you don't want to stick out.
You're good at being undercover versus the opposite, which is vest badge, but you're still in narcos. You're still a detective, but you're more behind the scenes,
right? Correct.
But you're rolling up on shit,
and you're a younger cat at the time, so You're
Right.
probably
I'm
more
not-
in that
I'm
crowd.
not quite 30, just about 30 or so, but yeah,
Years.
yeah. So we had a stable of cars to drive from, but my primary car now, which you think is something really cool, like from Miami Vice or driving
fuck yeah.
Lambos. I had a 78 Cutlass with T-tops.
Oh, sick.
Piece of shit. But it was great. I mean, it was
Piece
an
of
absolute, it was an absolute.
Dude,
great
can
undercover
I
thing.
just make a statement? Is there anything more fucking, and no offense to your T-tops, preface this story with that. Is there anything more white trash than a fucking white dude fucking, I'm just cleaning the T-tops.
Oh, yeah.
Got a leak in the seal.
Right,
dude.
yes.
That's
right,
the most,
right, right.
you see like a dozen fucking white trash
It rained
dudes.
today. I got to vacuum the car.
They're putting their T-tops in the double wide, dude. It's just like, this Trans Am's my whole life. And it's like, dude, that's a Monte Carlo, bro. Like, we get it.
You know
Whatever.
what I mean?
Yeah, it's not even a tranny. But anyways, all right. Sorry. I just had to make that. Dude,
But-
T-tops
Right.
used to be the tits.
So Tommy was talking about pouring beer
Yes.
on myself. So
To disguise yourself, essentially.
right. So basically, you have to undertake this persona. I have a fake driver's license,
Okay.
a whole fake wallet,
Uh-huh.
fake information, and you go the dirtbag douchebag side where you've got rolling papers in there,
Oh,
a
fuck
condom.
Yeah, dude.
You've got like
Tracy's phone number.
yes,
Yeah,
bullshit
dude.
like the card from like the Playboy Club with like one more lap dance,
Yeah.
you get a 10th one free.
A lucky ladies matchbook.
Honestly,
Yeah.
that shit was all in there.
Yeah, dude, I swear to
Right.
God. This
and
is
like
the shit I would
$9,
do. Yeah.
right?
No, $6. Dude,
So-
9 is money.
right.
6 is
No
cheap.
shit. But you have all that, and I had a legitimate like Indiana driver's license
Okay.
that was with my picture,
Uh-huh.
with a hat on backwards. I mean, we get the with a fake name and
Right.
a bullshit address, and so we would go to bars and we would get hooked up with informants, and I did a lot of long term investigations where an informant would introduce me into his friends that were really moving in what he thought was a lot of dope. Okay, now
What's 9 times out of 10
Yeah.
it wasn't. That guy knows a guy.
Guys, it's an 8 ball. It's an 8 ball. It's an 8 ball.
But that's a lot in Evansville.
But that's coming from somewhere who's got more, and so we're just trying to just
Climb
bump
the
up the
ladder.
pyramid, right? We don't care about the guy moving the gram,
Stroking the pyramid, dude.
Somebody's got a fucking brick of it somewhere.
You're looking for pounds and kilos, not
Absolutely, and
grams.
guns and shit like that. So we would go in. I would go into a bar with the informant, and my persona was, I'm just a derelict, and I would mow grass all day long. So I would come into work with shitty clothes on, dirty.
Show up with green
literally-
green shoes.
Yes, absolutely,
good,
and dirt
good.
under my fingernails, and
Mhm.
I would literally go to the liquor store and buy a hot 6-pack
Oh,
and
gross.
take a warm Budweiser and basically take a bath in it.
And then I'm assuming
Right.
you would drink one.
So and I would gurgle it, so I had it in my breath. So I would go in and I've got cash. I would roll up in my it was a Broham. You know what the Broham is? BROUGHAM with the T-tops. Just an absolute. It was shit brown. Roll in with the informant. We'd go in and he introduced me. And he would be the people that he partied with.
What's his kickback on this? What's this?
Not going to jail.
So that was half of it. And you find the guys who were really good. Like I could talk about this guy because
We don't have to.
he's since passed away.
Okay, rest in peace,
Fantastic
brother.
informant because born in Florida, but at a young age moved to El Salvador. Multilingual without an accent in either language.
Wow.
Fucking homeboy knew what was up,
I mean,
dude.
an absolute
Good at his fucking job.
an absolute grinder as an informant as long as he stayed clean.
Ah,
Right. So he had some
yeah.
problems, and
You had to kick him in the teeth every now and then.
But a sweet guy,
Yeah.
but just a big dude, had tattoos, but absolutely could speak
But
Spanish.
other than not going to jail, what's his kickback?
So
If he's
initially
just
he worked off charges, but then he liked.
being an informant.
He did, yes.
Like somebody in Afghanistan likes being a translator.
right,
They're
right.
just like, yeah,
Right.
I'm cool with
Yep.
I know I'm going to America now, but
Right.
like
He's
I want to
kinda-
keep doing this.
He's the kind of guy that would just have his thumb on the pulse of all bullshit everywhere.
and nobody knows. Nobody.
I mean, eventually,
nobody's tracking him.
I
Like,
mean, when
hey,
stuff would
people
go to-
around him get shot a lot.
Right. And we have ways. Yeah, yeah. We have ways. I mean, sometimes the cover would be blown, but I mean, he could do Mexicans and then separate himself from that world and then do white dudes for meth.
Yeah, dude.
And then separate, and just, but he's one of those guys. If he showed up with a cheeseburger from Rally's and a pack of smokes,
His motivation's through the roof.
oh yeah, he wanted to just, and he was a nice guy.
That's what's up.
You know,
man.
like I would show up in and be like, "Hey man, I know nothing worked out today, but here's $100. Now I'm not giving him my money, but here's $100.
Right.
So I don't want to get too wild on the.
Well, did the stories I mentioned happen when you were in Narcos?
What are we talking about? Which one?
The Willys in the refrigerator?
Yes.
killing me, Smalls.
Let's
You're
pick
killing me.
one. I know.
pick one. But pick one.
Willys is a better story.
We got more story to get to.
I just the only reason I wanted to mention the refrigerator was due to relating it to Brian's situation.
Okay, guys, this is the only time that Thomas has ever fucking narrated an interview for the interviewee. I'm very sorry.
Well, I
this
also,
guy sucks dicks.
I know some stories.
Jesus fucking
Since
Christ.
we're related, I know a few stories
guy
that.
Where are the breadsticks?
Dude, bro, no breadsticks, no cheese, no wine,
No Alfredo.
no hand jobs. I'm fucking out, dude. This
Are
is
those
bullshit.
on the menu?
God
It's
damn,
after
dude.
the episode.
You got to meet her behind the dumpster.
Okay.
I know a girl named Stephanie out at the east side should get you.
It's really Brian. He puts a wig on, but we won't talk about it.
Hey, if it's dark.
Whatever.
I'll let
dude.
you choose whatever story you want to do.
A hand's a hand.
All right. So here's the Chili Willys story.
Okay.
So me and another guy were both undercover,
Uh-huh.
looking like your white trash meth pill guys, whatever.
And you're in Narcos at this point. You're an
Yes.
undercover.
Yes.
Okay. And this is the
So we
refrigerator
were-
story?
No,
so-
this is
No,
the
this is the Chili Willys.
Chili
story.
Willys.
Is this the one you wanted to tell?
No, this will work.
Okay. This is a funny story. This
Yeah.
is-
Okay.
this-
Let's hear it. Let's
so
hear it.
they're like, okay, there's the bartender at Chili Willys is selling weed and a bunch of pills.
Checks out.
We don't normally care, but we're
Checks
getting
out.
lots of complaints.
Yeah.
So like, hey, here's $100. Go. I mean, that's small fries.
We
you know?
don't normally give a shit.
I mean, really, there's so
But
many
we
times
had
where
like
like,
9 call-ins. Nana's getting
right?
pissed.
You know, when the mayor when you call the mayor's office, you could call the mayor's office tonight and be like, my neighbor next door doesn't cut his grass, but
Yeah,
you call
yeah,
the
yeah.
mayor's hotline. Guess what? Somebody's cutting that grass tomorrow.
Fuck.
It may be a fireman or a police officer, but somebody's cutting that grass and somebody's getting fined for it.
Yes.
The mayor doesn't mess around.
So
God
you
bless
get a bunch of complaints.
Right,
You
so-
go to Chili Willys, chase this dude down.
So we're out there. So no, we're just out there. We sit down. We're drinking a couple beers, and Ryan, what you said earlier.
Yeah.
Drink a beer. We pour 3 beers out.
That makes sense.
That's the way it works, right?
Do you go to the restaurant?
Well, yeah, we just carry a bottle of beer to the bathroom, which looks weird, but nobody thinks,
I used to do
Go in
something
there.
similar in like high school parties when you have like a beer and like
You're such a pussy,
you're-
dude.
well, no, but I'm saying like you're at your
Hey,
limit.
let's go to this beer, and I'm gonna pour it out.
No, like I would carry around like a beer that I drank, but then like if I was too drunk or whatever, I would just carry around a damn near empty beer, and somebody like, oh, you need one? I'm like, oh, I got half of one, and I'd carry around half a beer like the rest of the night.
Oh, hold on a second. So
But
sorry,
anyways-
guys. So sorry.
God bless you.
Thank you.
So you're at
I
Chili's
am
and
a
you're
little
trying to.
dry. Could I get one
Yeah.
of those tasty beverages?
You want an
Help
apple
yourself.
or a regular?
I have apple and regular Busch Light. Help yourself.
Take
Which
a regular.
there it is. Let him have the He's an OG, dude. You know what I'm saying? And put the Wally on it.
With the,
Well, we got a couple of complaints on YouTube about brand. I was actually going to ask you to tear your label off that soda. I forgot to ask about that.
that Coke.
He can't. What? Okay. That's like one of those I'm black on ammo, throw me a mag catches, dude.
Yes,
I've been there,
SWAT
dude.
Jesus.
I've been there. Yeah,
Oh,
SWAT
yeah.
Jesus,
Yes.
bro. You're
You
like,
hope SWAT Jesus is sending that mag.
We'll get
Gotta
into
reach
SWAT
for it,
Jesus.
dude.
Great feeling, right?
yeah, we'll get to it if he ever gets through if you stop asking him to tell stories.
All right, let me finish.
It's no fault of you. It's this
Never
asshat over here.
We'll just let it roll.
God damn it,
All
you're a
right.
piece of shit.
So we're in there and we're just minding our own business.
Uh-huh.
I think maybe
in Chili's,
I
you're
bought some Laura tab or something. It's just,
off the bartender?
It's somebody I don't even know. It's just irrelevant. It's just the dead end, typical bar shit.
So when you're doing that, if I may interject real quick, just in the story, because the main goal is bartender. We know who he is, right? We have his name.
We'll figure it out eventually, right? Yeah.
Oh, you don't know his name at this
We
point.
don't know anything, right?
You have what he looks like?
Yes.
Okay.
Right.
But you buy Laura tabs off some person,
Right.
and you're what, fishing?
Well, the first time is just an intel gathering.
You're fishing?
Should we even come back? And then yes. So we're fishing. So we're going there just checking out the scene. So,
We're not like hitting this spot tonight the first time,
oh no,
hoping
and
to bang the guy.
almost never works that way.
Okay.
Right.
I just want to.
No,
I'm
no.
very not cop savvy.
Right.
I'm
Right. Now
learning.
we're just in there. We're going to spend some money, see what's up.
Okay.
Is it worth coming back and
Yeah, yeah,
making
yeah.
this an investigation? Absolutely not. Except So we're in there. I think guy officer sell me some yellow buses, some lower tabs, whatever.
Right.
You know?
And you leave him alone afterwards, right?
Yeah, we don't give a shit. Whatever.
Fuck
I
that
don't
guy.
even get his name. Who gives a fuck? Because if we want to pursue it, we can come back the next day or 2 days later and be like,
He'll
hey,
still be there.
right, we'll figure it out, right? No big
Yeah,
deal.
okay.
It's Lord, who cares?
Cameras? Do you have cameras on you?
No, this is
Pre-micro
2002. Yeah, we have some. Actually, we have some pretty sophisticated shit, but it's dark. It's 10 p.m. on a Wednesday, Thursday.
And Chili's is
college
a
night.
shady place.
It's dark in there.
A couple people have been raped in there.
So right,
no,
so we're
it's-
in there and
Yeah.
we do that stuff.
Dicey.
And all of a sudden, there's a little pipsqueak in there who starts running his yap. Right, he's had too many beers and he's picking a fight with people who are bigger, stronger, faster.
Dude, don't come on. I'm right here.
One of
I
those-
can fucking hear you.
One of those deals. Well, he's running his trap,
yeah.
and they're just trying to get him out. There's no bouncer. I mean, it's just one of those deals. Like they're like, "Come on!" So the bartender and some guys are like, "Man, get the fuck!" And he's just cursing and swinging and just out of control. Once
So
he
the
started
cops
fight-
get called.
No, they don't. 'Cause they
Really?
don't care. I mean, it's Chili Willis. Nobody cares.
Yep.
They're like, get him the fuck out, get him out. So me and my buddy were there. We're watching this. We don't intervene. There's nothing happening that would require us to do anything. If gunplay comes out, that's about the only reason.
Game time. And
Right.
then you don't even reveal yourself. You just break the situation down.
Well, I mean, depends on what's happening. I mean, how fluid is it, right?
Yeah.
Gun comes out, we're shooting. Who cares if we're cops or not?
Yeah.
Anyway, so the guy, basically gets flooded out the door, and he's screaming and yelling, hollering, and he's shitty, and he's threatening to kill everybody. And they get him out the door, and they just shut the door, and everybody laughs, and he's gone. So me and my partner were like,
Peace out, bro. Sorry, you thought I was looking at somebody. No, I was just saying, like, peace out, dude. They got him out the
okay,
door.
it's a ghost.
They get him out the door.
Right.
Yeah, no, I
So
do have a ghost
my
in
buddy-
my house.
My buddy and I walk out behind him,
Correct.
and we see him. He goes to his car, some little, I don't want to say it's a Chevette, but it's a Chevette, right? If you don't know what a Chevette is.
I'm not a big Chevy guy, so, like, I don't know what a Chevette
Okay.
is. Is that like a Chevelle
It's
piece
like an
of shit?
older car, yeah.
It's a hatchback 2-door piece of shit.
Oh, it's a Chevelle piece of shit.
I mean, it's not even Chevelle was,
A decent car.
yes. Google Chevette. Maybe you should.
I'll pull it
picture
up
of a
right now.
Chevette.
Keep
Oh, yeah.
telling your story.
Yeah.
Keep telling
So
your
he
story.
goes to a Chevette, pops his hatch, and grabs a baseball bat, aluminum baseball bat, right? So he
Okay.
grabs that, and
The kid that just got kicked out.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he's fucking mad. And we're watching this. We're just right down the sidewalk, and we're
Oh, this piece of
oh
shit?
yeah.
This piece
Yes.
of shit?
Imagine if
Is
that
this-
was like silver and like beat the hell and dirty.
Oh,
Yeah,
look at
that's
this
it.
hot mommy right here, though. She is fucking
Shit. Is that
selling
Sniffer's
it.
mom?
Dude, I'll tell you what. She get a ride in my hatchback.
So the dude pulls out an aluminum
So
baseball
he brings
bat.
his baseball bat, and he's fucking mad, right? I mean, he's taking his warm up swings in the parking lot. He's getting loose,
He's fucking
right?
He's in the fucking, what do you call it?
The
he's,
batter's cage.
Yeah, he's in the
He's on
batter's
deck.
cage.
He's
He's
on
on
deck.
deck.
He's on
dude.
deck.
He's
He's
ready
getting
to go, dude.
He's got his batting gloves on.
He's got the
So
weights
he
on
walks
there.
right up to the front door, and he sets it right against the wall near the front door. And he goes in, and me and my buddy like walking right behind him. And he's in there now, and he's like, challenging everybody. Come out here, fuck you guys. Come out, step outside, and I'll beat your ass. And he's locked on to one guy. I don't know if it's somebody that works there or the bartender's friend.
Okay,
And
okay.
he's challenging him. He goes, come outside, and I'll beat your. So he set a trap. He's got the baseball bat right
Yeah,
outside
yeah.
the door.
Yeah.
He's gonna bait this dude out and then fucking beat his brains in with a baseball bat. So we see this happening. I mean, we you see it
Right.
from our perspective. You know what's happened, right? We know he's fucked up. He got kicked out. He went to the Chevette, got the bat, propped the bat up. So we walk out the door and we take the bat and throw it on the roof of the building.
Yeah. Yo, fuck you, bro.
And we just sat back, right, and watch the world burn. So the dude runs out the door of the bar with
Right.
3 guys chasing him. He goes over to where the bat was, and it's not there. And now he's fucked. And they beat the brakes off this dude. I mean, kicking him, punching him, pushing him against the wall,
That's what you get.
slamming him. So he fucking finally picks his bloody, sorry ass up off the ground, drags his ass to the Chevette. By this time, we've called it in.
And
Right,
just
he's getting a Dewey.
And just a shout out, dude, to the Chevette, the Chevy Chevette, also which came in a 4-door, which I was not aware of. That's a good looking 4-door. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. Like right here,
$2.95.
you can buy this for $2.
That's an overpayment.
You can buy this for $2.95
with
on
$3.50 cheap.
It's not including the Easton baseball bat.
Now,
Right.
you do have to pay shipping. That's $30 or $40. But I'm telling you guys, it's a hell of a deal. Get on eBay, check it out. And it's a gray two-tone. It's a dark gray, space gray with a whiter, shittier gray.
Look at those wheels.
I'll tell you
rims.
dude. Not a great car. Not a hot shot's not driving this car.
All right, let's not get caught up on the car.
Sorry, my bad.
The dude gets busted
Let's not
later on,
judge.
all this stuff.
So literally, we've called it in. You know, when a cop calls, like, we need some help, they're coming
Correct.
pretty quick.
Yeah.
Dude drags his broken ass into his Chevette, fires it up, drives about a quarter mile down the street.
Not before he revs it up.
Zoop, zoop. There's 2 EPD cars. Pulls his ass over, goes to jail DUI.
Peace out, bro.
I mean, talk about your worst day. So literally, I guarantee that bat is still on top of that.
right.
building.
I need to ask the owners.
I hope so. And we do know the owners. I want to ask how we get from detective to SWAT.
Well, or what's underneath Narcos? Do you go straight to SWAT, or do you get involved in FBI and
was
sex
FBI.
crimes?
FBI
or
was after Narcos.
Okay.
So
is sex crimes kind of just like blended between all 3 categories?
sex crimes
of-
was the end.
okay.
Sex crimes was where
So we're done with
So,
detective.
yeah, we'll just
work,
get into FBI right now.
and let's
before-
roll into whatever happened next, and we'll follow
well,
your
I'm still
lead.
doing detective work for the FBI. So
Okay.
I was like one of the initial 4 members. EPD sent 4 officers or detectives to the FBI task force, which was run by an FBI agent
Okay.
in Evansville. So they did a wide variety of different kinds of cases. So they sent over a robbery homicide detective, a narcotics guy, 2 narcotics guys, and I'm trying to think of the third, just like a general crimes guy. So different experiences to work all different crimes. So
Mhm.
we did wiretaps, we did undercover gun buys, drug buys, bank robberies, surveillance. I mean, the whole gamut. We had, the DEA down here is shit hot. They work their butts off. We help them out a lot. The ATF.
Because a lot of drugs come from Mexico through Kentucky, and then basically the tri-state is what we call it, but then it gets dispersed from the tri-state throughout the crossroads of America, essentially, correct?
Right. We're in this, Evansville's in this hub where
This weird spot.
this
yeah.
weird Bermuda Triangle of Chicago, St. Louis, Louisville,
Detroit, maybe?
Nashville, Detroit. Back in the early to mid '90s, Detroit was shit hot sending cocaine down here, but they really attacked that and got rid of those guys. But now it's Memphis and
I'm walking
Did you have to-
on Memphis.
Did you have to do any more, like, extensive training when you switched from Narcos to FBI? Like, was it another, 6 weeks training course, or...
No, I mean they really brought guys into the FBI task force, guys who already had all
Like
the
above the
advanced
curve
training.
almost.
Right. Now I went to
Okay.
like a week long FBI combat shooting school, but prior to that, in the Narcos, I had like a 2-week undercover school, it put on by the DEA, Bismarck, North Dakota. By the way, one of God's mistakes.
Not a great place.
just an absolute
Bismarck.
Bismarck, North Dakota.
No shout out to you. And if you know somebody from Bismarck, punch him in the fucking mouth.
Literally,
okay, moving forward.
me and another guy from EPD were up there for 2 straight weeks in a Holiday Inn.
So you do travel when you're working, even though you're considered,
well, for the training, we went.
Oh,
I mean,
okay,
a lot of
okay.
training, but yeah, working for Narcos or what you call it that we just call it narcotics, but or FBI.
I like
There were-
abbreviations.
Yes,
Short. Narc.
narc
Yeah.
guy.
Keep it short. Narco.
Podcast, yeah.
Yeah.
But like
Yeah.
there was stuff
I'm a narc.
where like
joking.
working in the narcs where a DEA would be like, hey, and not so many words, be like, we're following a guy. He's leaving town going south. We need a 5-man crew to follow him in 5 separate cars. We don't know where he's going, but we've got to follow him all the way there. This is like 8 p.m. on a Tuesday,
right.
right? And this is a legit story. And so the boss, first of all, boss in narcotics was a squared away, badass,
Tight ass. Just locked and loaded, ready
locked
to
and
rock.
loaded, Vietnam veteran,
That's hot.
scar on his throat from being shot,
Fuck yeah.
lost half his fucking company.
Fuck yeah.
I'm not going to say his name, but he is an absolute legend. When he spoke,
we'll call him Derek.
we'll call
I like
him Mike
Derek.
because that's his name.
Derek.
But,
Derek Mike. To
I'm
Mike.
trying to think if it was,
We won't sweat it.
it was a paratrooper, but You talk about working for a great leader.
Just a stud.
Just an absolute, like, would let you do your thing, but also kept tabs on you, checked in on you, asked you what you needed. If you needed correction, he'd correct you, but never emasculated you. I mean, I could do a whole other podcast about leadership. I mean, I'm sure you've seen, everybody in their walks of life has seen,
dude, that's the
a
difference.
boss and a leader. Not
That's
the same
the
thing.
difference. That's the difference between exactly what he just said, a boss and a leader. So everybody thinks it's cool to be like boss bitch, boss dad, boss fucking boss ball sack. And it's like, yeah, that's cool, bro. But can you lead men? And leading men into battle is synonymous with any situation, because battle is literally when you're going from safety to danger and you have to lead individuals there, men, women, whoever the fuck they are, midgets, dwarfs, Jews, blacks, colors, it doesn't matter, whatever. You got to lead this group of individuals into battle. You have to find a way to not only let them trust you, but trust you enough to essentially like lay their life on the line. Now, and you can translate, that's the most severe situation. It does not get worse than that. And then to transpose that rather into any other situation is fucking easy peasy lemon squeezy. And if you guys aren't familiar with Jocko Willink, give him a look. He's a fucking genius.
Animal.
Yeah, he's a savage, and he will explain to you the difference of how like leadership in the military pertains, how that reads across into the civilian world. But not to take away from your point. But you're right.
Right.
He's a leader. He's a leader. He's not a boss. He's a leader.
Right. You're right. There's such a difference. And when you see a leader, you know.
You just know. He's got the sack.
Right.
And he's got the composure.
Right. Yes.
And you're overwhelmed to meet them.
It doesn't matter what.
It's nice to meet them.
Yes.
Genuinely.
100%. And they're few and far between. But and it doesn't matter what they've done, what they've said. It's just what they do. And it's, so we were lucky. So, that's part of me wanting to go to the narcotics unit is there's this shit hot guy, a decorated Vietnam veteran, Purple Heart winner. Just a badass. You would never know.
You're not really a winner if you get a Purple Heart. You're kind of a Purple Heart loser. Like, that sucks. That's a low light. That's a low light of your life.
Yeah.
Not to take away from him. So sorry.
He was one of these guys who's just, he led by example, and he was never rude or boisterous he's just.
Yeah, just chill.
You hung on every word he said.
Yeah.
And he created leaders. And I like to think that a lot of that or some of that rubbed off on me, and helped me along the way. But, a lot of it's just treating people with respect and putting them first, and yourself second, putting the mission first and making sure that's accepted.
Did you say he kind of pushed you towards FBI? Kind of saw that overview?
No, but I think he made me and a lot of other people into, I don't want to call myself a leader. Never do that, but into the person that I'm very happy with as far as being in my career or,
just the man that you are.
100%.
Yeah, just the person that you are. Yeah,
and the guys that worked for him all blossomed and went on to do good things because of, his direction or his influence, his experience.
The fundamentals he gave you guys.
100%. Right. So, and it was, it was basically when I first went to the narcotics unit, it was basically, look, be on time. Don't do anything to embarrass yourself, your family, or your unit.
Correct.
And work hard.
That's it.
And you're like, that's it?
3 things, dude.
But if you live by those principles or you work with those principles, that's a lot.
It really is.
That's hard work. It's hard work.
And
people don't understand. Yeah. Like when you're in your situation or are armed service members, in any situation that you're a civil servant. Like, it doesn't seem like much. Like, right uniform, right time, right place, obey your leader, be nice,
but
whatever.
I will say, because of Mike, you're able to, you're I feel like you took the lessons he gave you and you applied them, and that was one of the reasons that you were one of the 4 selected to be involved in this FBI group.
Here's a quick story about Mike, my sergeant. Okay, this sounds stupid and maybe even sound like a dick move, but
no.
We would do all our hits either early in the morning at like 0600.
We're talking knocks. Like knocking on doors, like knocking on doors,
dynamic entry,
like raids or
like smashing the door in and going.
We know that we've gotten clearance from the municipality.
Right, we've got a search warrant signed.
We're knocking this door.
And we don't do these anymore. Hardly anybody does, just because the risk reward.
Not worth it.
Right. But back in the day, we would so-and-so, Jimmy lives at this house. We've got a warrant for his arrest. We've got a search warrant for his house. We've got charges on him for selling a bunch of dope, blah, blah, blah. We're going to hit his house. It's either going to be 6 a.m. set by federal law, or before that law was set, going to hit it, super late at night, try to catch him sleeping, right? The least amount of resistance possible.
Easy peasy. Let's get in there.
That's the plan, right?
Still got sleep in his eye.
Yes.
He's trying to figure out which is
But
left and right.
You get the guys who are gangbanging,
They didn't sleep.
their hours are different.
Yeah, they don't wake up.
You
till
hit them
10
at
o'clock.
noon, you're going to get them.
They're working on Amazon hours, dude.
Absolutely.
Yeah, they're working on Amazon Prime shipping hours, dude.
Right, yes. You don't,
Dude, they're they're sitting in shit fucking 24/7,
right.
365.
So you're pulling surveillance to be like, all right, this dude's lights go off at 7 a.m.
Yeah.
And he rises at 1 p.m. And, so blah, 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 blah. But we're doing these briefings. Like, say we're going to hit a house at 6. So we rally at 0500. So
Okay.
we're briefing with our secondary patrol guys
Okay.
an hour before that.
Mhm.
But everybody involved in ARC guys, we're doing a briefing the day before and then a second briefing at
Day
say,
of.
0200.
Yeah,
Right?
day of. Before.
Right. So here we are. So our guys, the guys who are running this shit have, like Tommy's the case agent. Tommy says, we're going to hit this house on this street at this time.
I'm going to bring this lasagna.
Right. Yes.
Yeah.
I got unlimited breadsticks.
I got breadsticks
Which
and wine.
apparently is fake news. Cause
Right. No breadsticks.
This-
We got tacos afterwards, maybe.
the Oliver $5 bottle of wine.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm really extrapolating this short story
You're okay.
into
You're
a
okay.
long story.
You're good.
Edit this part out. All the last hour I just talked. Anyway, so we brief. We're all squared away. All we need to do is have a briefing with patrol.
Mhm.
Like, you're going to shut down this intersection. You're going to shut down this intersection.
Mhm.
You're going to transport. And that's it. That's all we need them to do, right?
Piece of cake.
Everything else, we got the perimeter covered. We got surveillance. Surveillance been there for 2 days.
Yep.
We've shot out the street lights, which
Yep.
is awesome. We've flattened tires. I mean, it's a fucking lockdown. So be at this specific room at EPD at 0500 for the briefing. And at 0445, guys are in there, shooting the shit. Everybody's getting little pamphlets handed out, pictures of the targets and the
Loaded
addresses,
up,
blah, blah, blah.
gear together.
And at 5 o'clock, the boss would walk over and pull the door shut and lock it. And go up there and start talking. And he would have everybody's attention. And every time, without fail, 30 seconds after that, 1 minute, 5 minutes, guys trying to get in. He would ignore him. He would ignore him until they start beating and calling, trying to get in. He'd go there and be like, open the door. You're like, what's up? He's like, all right, we had a briefing. He's like, what time? 0500. Look at his watch. It's 0504. We don't need you. You can go back home. These are guys who got called in on their day off,
Right.
who got up at 3:30, showed up 4 minutes late, and were sent home, and he wouldn't sign their overtime cards.
Fuck them.
You do that once, and you know what?
You don't get called again.
Right? And
Yeah,
the
dude.
guys who were in there are like, God
Yeah.
damn, I'm glad I'm here early.
Yeah, dude.
And that set a tone. And he wasn't a dick. He didn't embarrass anybody. He'd be like, no, it's fine.
We don't need you. We don't need you.
Right.
Carry on.
When I need you to fucking throw a flashbang,
Yeah.
it needs to be when I say throw a flashbang. When I need you to bang this back door in and put a gun in there, that's when I need you. When I need you to shut down this intersection or flatten this tire or fucking shoot a light out at 0300, that's when I need this done.
And then
And
when
if you
he's
can't do
doing that, I'm assuming that like the 4 knuckleheads that showed up at the door, like, hey, I got a briefing at 500. Is like, okay, we don't need you. He shuts the door again, closes it, and to make his point, he has to consolidate those tasks, right?
Yeah, he just makes do.
Or are those
makes
like
do.
backups? Are those
No,
like
those are guys
backups?
that are needed. And then
Okay.
people will be like, all right,
So
you
now
call a patrol
So
sergeant.
now, Mike, you're in charge of Dirt to Dirt, who showed up at 0504. You're in charge of flattening the tires and shutting these
well,
lights down.
I mean,
Whatever.
these are just
But he's
guys.
consolidating those tasks.
Well, he's just calling in someone else who's already working.
Yeah.
Like so and so's already working until 7.
Oh, okay.
a.m.
They pick some folks up.
He'd be like, all right, I need a patrolman. I wasn't going to use your guy and use your manpower, but now I need him at 5:55. I need him to shut this intersection down.
And if Narco says I need your guy, they're like, oh well, I need your guy, and there's no fighting. There's
Right.
you're
Right.
getting
You'll figure it out, right?
You're getting him.
right.
Okay.
So you're one of few selected to go into the FBI. What and you're in there for about 6+ years.
Mhm.
What I know there's
I
some
really want to get to
scenarios,
SWAT like really
right?
badly.
But we got to go along the process, and it'll be okay. We don't worry about the time. We can
just
split it.
Slide right over
But-
this.
But like so what I want to do a little like touch on it a little bit, just necessarily because like I like even when you get involved in SWAT and stuff, like I remember when you first got involved in SWAT, and I was like, does SWAT get called that much in Evansville?
Yes.
You know what I mean? And you were like, fuck yeah, every day. You know what I mean? And I didn't make the
Not every
notice.
day, but enough to where you're a SWAT guy, especially the guys in
like
charge.
a firehouse,
Yeah.
like a singular firehouse.
Right.
You probably get called as many
Right.
times as a singular firehouse.
But
It's pretty often.
SWAT guys, they're spread out through the department, through sectors, through shifts. They are being utilized because of their training, their ability, their equipment, their access to the Bearcat and other equipment they have.
Is the Bearcat the vehicle?
Yeah.
Bearcat is the badass.
So
Like an MRAP.
Yes,
The big MRAP looking
it's
truck.
it's on a Ford
International.
F350 chassis,
International 7.3 liter intake.
diesel. I think it is. Yes, it's
Yep.
all-wheel drive. We've had it up to 120.
They're fast.
Completely bullet resistant.
Mhm.
It's got a turret on top. No weapon up there, obviously. It's got a ram.
But just in case.
Right. So it's a great tool. Honestly, EPD could use 2 of them. Because for every Bearcat in the front of a house with an armed barricaded subject, somebody's going to cover the back.
right,
And it's usually guys hiding behind trees, hiding behind
a fence.
pillars of a vehicle.
Be nice to have a second one back.
Oh, I mean, nice.
game changer.
A luxury. Yes.
So-
100%.
From FBI, you get involved in sex crimes. Do you kind of do that hand in hand? Because so you're in sex crimes for 8 years.
Yes.
So I guess sex crimes is kind of wrapping up the FBI situation, and then you kind of get we'll just kind of blow past the FBI thing. But like,
I got one good
Okay.
FBI story.
all right,
for you.
sounds great.
Okay, so,
I'm game on whatever you give me.
a lot of stuff.
I just don't want to listen to him
It
anymore.
sounds cheesy. It's cheesy and stuff we can't talk about, but I did have to sign a non-disclosure agreement.
Right.
But there are some things like there's a lot of really cool things going on within 90 miles of Evansville where agencies other than the FBI are utilized, even if it's just surveillance and stuff like that.
Is this where you
Okay.
got to when the president came to town? Was that in the FBI?
Oh, president, that's just SWAT stuff. So that's good stuff. The FBI, you guys see this on all the TV shows. They do have black bag squads where there were several cases where we had government authorization signed by a federal judge
Okay.
to install whatever surveillance equipment, whether it be cameras or listening devices or both, into places that were covert. So we would have to pull surveillance on what comes to mind is there's a certain business in town. Investigators, detectives, agents worked up this whole case, and they thought there's a lot of criminal stuff going on, whether it be terrorism or criminal gang, whatever.
Correct.
It's a big deal. Where Washington, D.C. sends a crew, and they have the bosses like, all right, I need you to pull 24-hour surveillance for 4 days and get us a pattern on when, who comes, goes, when it's shut down, this, and the other. And then I need live surveillance beginning on this time and date up to this time and date. And that's all they tell us.
Piece of cake.
And we're watching the place, and then we get all right, you guys are free to go. And then we find out later that while we were watching it, a crew of like 3 dudes entered this place, drilled a hole in the wall, installed cameras and listening devices inside the walls of this business. We didn't even know. I mean,
Right.
we're watching this place, and then did it covertly and left.
That's some like Russian shit though, because the
Hold
U.S.
up a second. I just have to admit.
This is in Evansville, Indiana. I mean,
Right.
Okay,
It's
you
pretty
saw me.
cool.
You saw me when we walked into this. Okay, I said I was going to change. I'm wearing my Ranger panties right now.
Yep. Pretty.
I'm
pretty nice.
3/4 chub right now. I'm pitching a goddamn tent under here. This shit gets me fucking hot and bothered. That's all I'm saying. I just had to make that
I was
known.
gonna say like you know
God
how quick
damn.
that stuff happens. Like
Right.
the
You
U.S.
had
embassy.
no idea that they're
Right.
just like, hey,
So,
go out here, watch
When
this.
Right. So when I was in the FBI task force, we had an office. We had desks and stuff in the FBI office in downtown Evansville.
Yeah.
But there was a room that when this started, they basically shut the door and locked it, and only the case agent, who was a special agent with the FBI,
Right.
Mm-hmm.
and people that he allowed
Deemed.
were in there. I mean, I was never in there, but I hear tell that there's live camera feeds, with
Right.
how many screens and audio, people listening 24/7, and they're watching what's happening inside this place.
Fuck, that's hot,
It's
dude.
it's crazy
Yeah,
though.
it's
fucking
how much
so
like
goddamn hot, dude.
audio.
That somebody's watching it. It's not somebody recording it, looking at it.
No,
Somebody
someone
was
is
in
pulling
there.
security.
Right. Somebody's
that
watching
house.
this the whole time, watching this live.
That's crazy.
That is some training day
Knowing,
shit.
yeah, it is. And
That
knowing-
is training day
that's,
shit.
That's some Jack Bauer 24 /
Right.
That's
whatever.
some Matlock shit.
24 was
dude.
rad. So how many?
Dun, 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 dun.
How
You ever watch Matlock?
yeah.
Oh, I fucking doubt it.
So was Fairs still
Andy
hot?
Griffith, probably the best cop show ever.
Was Fairs the main source of your sex crime street?
oh wow, that's an aggressive question.
You know,
Well, no, I'm just saying everybody.
my
So
God.
we're an
No.
Evansville-based
No,
podcast,
when
and everybody jokes about
we
Fairs
do
Avenue.
joke about Fairs Avenue and picking up.
Poor young naive Tommy.
I'm just saying
There's
everybody
no crime
jokes.
on
Okay,
Fairs. It's
okay.
all just sex.
Hey, with all jokes aside, where can I get a lady of the night? Come on,
The massage parlor on Diamond.
just
and
get online, baby. Just
Get
get online.
back page. That's
Yes,
not a thing.
That's not a thing. No, but it's
FBI
the same.
shut that down.
Right. Yes, but that's.
I just wanted to make this.
No, the
I
sex
just wanted to
crimes
make
case
that.
is as funny as you think about. Like
It's wild. It's got to be
Fat-
everywhere, right?
you think of fat nasty hookers. I'm talking about like
Big,
kids
big
who
ladies.
are molested
Oh.
and people who are raped. That's the cases. Those are the last cases I worked with. Yeah, you're talking about
sad,
sad,
heartbreaking.
depressing, frustrating.
So
Hold on a
what?
second.
No,
Hold
That's
on.
where you talk about.
I got to put my foot down here. Fuck you for even bringing
Right.
that up.
Well, I
He
mean,
said,
you know,
yes.
that's the last.
Also.
That's the last like
I don't want to talk about
fifth
that
of my
anymore.
career.
right.
I don't want to talk about
And-
that anymore. That makes
But
me
no,
sad.
so this brings up a point though. So like that's rough, and I was trying to make a point just about Fairs Avenue and how everybody in Evansville jokes that
Yes.
Fairs is where you go
Bears
to get a
is still
prostitute.
hot shit. And,
Oh, it is?
But-
it always is. It's
You can
just-
still get some ladies at the evening
But
out
I-
there?
yeah, or a
so-
dude or whatever.
Whatever you're
so,
into.
so we just hit something that's like semi-sensitive, to a lot of people. It's heartbreaking, these situations in sex crime that you
No,
had to deal with.
absolutely, yeah, 100%.
And we also have covered, FBI, narcos, and patrol. So before we get into SWAT, I want to make this connection that I was going to make with the fridge story that we're not doing.
get there.
But so a lot of these officers see combat almost every day, or they're in
well, that's a good
they're
point.
in high stress, high risk, high situations. And Brian, these military guys are overseas. They're there for a year to 3 years, and then they come home, and that you still have that stress. I'm sure when you came back, you still have anxiety and everything along those lines. But when you're undercover in narcos or patrol or whatever, you're driving 5-10 miles home, and you still know all that shit's happening in your city. Like
He's getting at, like, where is your downtime at? Where does your
So-
PTSD go? Because you have that stress with you and you take it with you.
Right.
And this is a daily occurrence, and it's in the town that you live in
So
because you live in
I have
well,
zero
near
PTSD
Evansville.
stuff from
situations that have
a couple from patrol, even as long back that was, right? In the midst of someone pointing a gun at you or seeing
You can't change that.
a coworker being shot, shot in the face or shot in the shoulder. I mean, you're never going to forget that, but
Right.
it does, dissipate.
fade a bit.
Hardly anything from the FBI and narcs. Mostly funny stories or cool stories.
It's hands off, I feel like.
I mean, a lot of stuff, but it's just there's so much stuff pre-planned where
It's
shit goes
guarded.
sideways. You're expecting it.
It's guarded. It's safe proofed. It's
Yes,
we're expecting
right.
shit to
We've
go
mapped
sideways.
Shit out. We're controlling it as much as possible.
So as soon as he comes out of the door with an AK-47, he's getting dropped.
I mean, that's kind of what it is, right? It's mapped out. It's planned. It's fact
If
checked.
A, B, or C happens, this is how you react.
Right, and I'm wired, and I've got backup, and there's backup close, and we had code words, and there's always nothing. I mean, there's some hairy shit, but it always worked out good. So
Right.
you hate that training principle where nobody got hurt, nobody died, so it must have been good. Well, that's never
That's
right.
not true.
Right.
Not at all right. You got lucky. So there a little bit of PTSD from SWAT, but it's just you get tired of seeing someone who shot themselves in the head because they couldn't deal with life.
Yes.
And when you see that, over and over and over again, you're just like, I'm tired of just seeing shit that looks
Right.
like something from a Jason movie.
I just essentially wanted to bring up the point that like people, you're talking about like people they see cop memorabilia on vehicles or whatever, and they go out of their way to be a dick, or
Blue line.
or-
He works at Fazoli's. You know what I'm saying?
they do something across those
Those
lines.
are the biggest people. You
Fuck that
question,
guy.
like,
Fuck that guy.
But those same people will
back
Yeah,
the
dude.
blue.
Yeah.
No, I'm the blue. I don't back the blue. I back.
I'm just
Like,
hanging out, dude. Don't draw attention to
what's
me.
the city in Texas where the cops stood around and watched all the kids be murdered? You back that blue? No.
Let's not talk
No.
about
Do you
that.
back
That's
Derek,
a sticky.
Do you back Derek
it's not
Chauvin?
great.
No. I mean,
Not
there's
great.
just, anyway.
But
Right.
the point is that he wanted to make a correlation between your PTSD and my PTSD.
Well, just that cops people treat cops a certain way, but then they treat their military, people a completely different way. And it's like in my mind, like you guys almost see some similar scenarios, even though Brian saw something not on the home front and you see something on the home front. I would almost view that home front as like, because like Brian sees that overseas.
Yeah, it's on the same
and
stage.
he thinks that's all overseas, and that's all overseas. But then you see some of the similar situations to a degree.
And I'll make my debate here. And the only difference, this is literally the only difference between law enforcement, firefighters, paramedics. Paramedics probably have the fucking worst. But between the civil services here in America and our services fighting abroad, the difference is once you jump that lake, it is no holds bars. There are no soft knocks. It is, we're dropping bombs. You're picking up bodies. Your buddy's shot. Your buddy's alive. Your buddy's dead. And this is such such a common occurrence that Jake knew episode 73. Check it out. He'll back me up on everything I'm saying. I mean, like dudes that I were with in my cop, like fucked up literally every fucking day. So that is similar. But you guys don't have to deal with shrapnel, IEDs. It's a quite drastic different comparison. I think the anxiety is similar, but I wouldn't say they're the same. The only difference in the anxiety that the Army gives you is that like anything can kill you. Anything can kill you. Like a bush.
Right, but I'm just saying that
anybody could be carrying a gun for you.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody, especially now, July 1st, everybody's got open carry. Yee. I get it, but now cops are more nervous now than ever.
Right.
So,
right.
But that's the life you live.
Did you do Guns and Hoses when you were in SWAT?
Oh yeah, you did Guns and Hoses. I forgot about that.
I do want to touch on that, but you had stomach surgery before Guns and Hoses, correct?
No, it was after the first.
Okay.
Yes.
So you did. How many times have you done Guns and Hoses?
Well, there was 3 in Indianapolis, and it was called.
You went to India and did Guns?
So
Guns
this
and
is
Hoses?
before it was technically Guns and Hoses,
So
correct?
I did the first Guns and Hoses in Evansville at the Coliseum. But before that, there were 2 years where year 1, and these all took place in the 8-Second Saloon in Indianapolis. They have like a mechanical bull.
Oh yeah. I know what you're talking about. Yes.
Right. So
yes.
it was basically cops and firefighters in a tough man competition, same rules and everything. And I got beat the first year, and then the second year.
And this is a boxing fight.
Yes, it's just basically
straight boxing, not kickboxing, not martial arts.
Just go crazy. The second year, I fought twice in one night. It seemed great.
Come on with it, dude.
Yeah, next day. Right. Didn't you break your nose that year?
You broke your fucking nose?
One of the years.
Broke a few times.
You got one of those ceramic noses, dude?
Well, if you take a look at it.
It looks pretty good for having been broken, dude.
So
looks pretty straight.
I got beat. I was the first year I fought. I was the first fight of the night. Walked into the ring completely scared to death and fought a guy who was a firefighter, but he was a Golden Gloves guy.
And this is your first year?
Yes.
Okay.
And I was
That's
ready.
fair.
I was everything ready except
you'd been training and
the
stuff.
bright lights kicked on, and I just fucking wilted like a bitch, and he beat me.
That happens.
He was good. He beat me, and that was it. So first fight of the night, and I had like a big crew of like buddies, coworkers up there, and like, So second year, they're like, come back up, get a rematch with the same guy.
Oh shit!
But it's a tournament, so if you win, you have to fight again like an hour later. So I'm like, all right,
this is fucking terrible.
So I went up there,
This is
and
a
I
fucking
beat the guy.
lose.
I beat the guy that beat me.
Okay.
I beat him pretty good.
Okay.
We were ready. And then I had like 45 minutes. where I went back behind stage and I just
Uh-huh.
laid there. I cooled off, came back, and the first round he just wore my ass out because I was still like out of it.
Right.
Oh yeah, you're.
And I remember him punching me in the face.
You
and my
went hard on the redemption.
My head snapping back, and then the bell ringing. Thinking, well, I'm in a fight. I probably need to maybe throw up. I don't know if I even threw a punch. So rounds 2 and 3, I beat his brains in. Right, I got a standing 8 count against him in like round 2, and then round 3, and then I won. So I won 2 fights that night, and then they put together Guns and Hoses in Evansville, and I fought that first year.
Okay.
And then I had that surgery. It was actually on my intestine.
Right. I knew you had some.
Anyway, we're not going
intestines
to talk
removed.
about medical care.
Right,
It's
right,
weird,
right.
you weirdo.
So
yeah,
you-
that's gay.
So,
No, I'm just,
so
I'm
after
joking.
that, though, you get involved into SWAT.
So I SWAT is a tough gig to get in Evansville.
Yeah,
So
it's a
I
lot of
tried
work.
out.
extremely selective.
Yes, they want volunteers. They want guys who want to be there. It's not easy to get to be a part of it, right?
And they want guys that are squared the fuck away.
Square-
Well, and there's an
away.
extensive amount of training. You have to rappel off the Ford Center, correct?
We were actually repelled from inside the Ford Center right before it was a finished product. There was no seats.
Wow.
So that was
Drop from the roof down to where the seats
the
were going to be,
ceiling
basically.
all the way down. Yes. So they're like, you want to go ahead and put a helmet on because you're going to die if you fall, but at least it'll keep your brain inside your skull.
Right.
Yeah, we can test you for TBIs and stuff.
Yes. Yeah. So I tried out for SWAT, like in narcotics and in the FBI, and they would never let detectives be on SWAT because they didn't want you to be unaccessed,
Right.
whatever. And I, on and on and on. I finally made it, and then best thing I ever did. I mean, imagine going to work and being, we train SWAT at EPD trains 2 days a month, and then 2 separate weeks out of the year, and they get used a lot. And imagine going to work with 20 dudes who have your exact same mindset.
Is that for the whole state or just municipality?
The
20 dudes.
there's 21 dudes on EPD on SWAT. There's one dude who's in charge
20.
of 20 other guys.
Okay, but the 20 dudes are municipal. They're
they're
like
all EPD.
And
Newburgh, Posey
No,
County.
they're all EPD. But we've been to Boonville, we've been to Newburgh, we've been to Mount Vernon, we've been to Gibson County.
You're not restricted by county line.
We go if they need us.
Okay.
If they need us and our brass approves it, we'll go.
And you're doing training. The SWAT does training all over. Like, didn't you guys do training at the Old North?
We go all of the
And then, like, there's a building on the east side that used to be a restaurant that closed down. You guys did training in
you
there.
name it, we train it. But the coolest thing, the best training scenario with a lot of army bases and stuff, where we're at when live shoot houses and stuff. That's so much fun.
Oh,
that's the best training.
They're a fucking
Where you're
blast.
shooting live next to 3-4
you can
guys.
mount on a wall and
Oh yeah,
fucking pop
and
rounds,
you're
dude.
shit hot, and you got to have your shit squared away because some guys firing an AR-15 right there.
Dude,
And
I get
if you don't have your head up and you're head on a swivel.
I get so fucking, dude, you and me, fucking, dude, a nice bottle of wine
Let's get
and
to work, man.
and a steak, dude, we'll go
Right.
fucking kill like 4 bad guys right now. Dude, I get fucking chubbed up over knocking.
There's a training facility that the government owns, federal government owns. It's in Indiana, but it's utilized by
all over.
agencies across the country.
Is it like central Indy area?
No, I think it's Terre Haute.
No, it's actually in the sticks. I'm trying to think
Oh.
of it.
No worries.
Anyways.
It's basically a whole fabricated city, and
yeah.
if you name it, it's there. So they have
Like any situation.
you name a structure, it's there, and it's not like 4 pieces of wood put up and with school painted on it.
It's like an actual
It's
business.
a fucking school.
They've poured concrete,
there's
rebar.
there's a hospital. There's a 4-story hospital, elevators. I mean, surgical rooms. There's a hospital. There's a jail. There's a school. There's a steps down into a subway terminal. Right. There's a whole trailer park with 75 trailers set up.
That's
okay.
insane.
There's townhouses. There's apartments. This is good. Like you'll like this for overseas army training. There's a parking garage that's been imploded from the inside, like bombed. There's a bank.
Fuck.
There, I mean, you name it. Here's the coolest part. We never use this, but this is for like fire department and rescue. There's a city street intersected with the street on each end of it, a block with 2 streets, houses on all ends,
Fuck,
houses on
dude.
the end, underwater. They built it. There's like probably a house on 6 houses on one side of the street, a 2-lane street, 6 more houses. There's an intersection with the street on the north end, the south end. I mean, full houses.
I'm going to start jerking it soon.
And then it's underwater. All you can see is the roofs and the chimneys.
And they're doing like search and rescue.
Yes, and they'll go down there and be like, all right, there's a 150-pound dummy on a couch. There's a derailed train.
Go get them.
I mean, it's unbelievable. River shanties.
What's okay.
We show up. There's a church. There's a mosque. There's a movie theater. You name it, they fucking got it. Whatever you can imagine. Townhouse. All right, this is a live example. Okay, there's a bank. We set up training scenarios. There's a bank. It's been robbed. As you show up, the bad guy flees to this townhouse. There's 4 townhouses. Multiple stories.
Yeah.
And then next to that, there's a parking garage. Figure it out.
So you got to set up like Overwatch, and then
Well, you fucking attack the first place where you're seen, and then you clear all that, and then you get role players. Oh, they went that way, and then you got a canine tracking, and then
I'll tell you what. My favorite thing in the Army was playing the role player. They would be like, "Where's bad guy?" I'd be like, durka," and they'd be like,
Muhammad Jihad.
"Yeah." They'd be like, "Fuck
Oh.
you," and I'd be like,
Durka, durka,
"Assalamu alaikum."
Yes.
Yeah, I love
Right.
that. No, but I love the fact that hands-on training. That's huge, man. In real time, as real as we can get. The only more real that I've seen, and I don't know what you had actual bad guys. I'm assuming
bad guys.
in these scenarios, you had actual bad guys.
Role players, you mean?
Yeah, role
oh,
players.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so how do we take these targets out in this training scenario?
So
are we using paint?
We're using simunition rounds,
so
which are high velocity paint rounds. They are basically we shoot 9mm out of 9mm handguns, and then 223s, and they are
wow.
coming.
They
in,
do a 223 paint round.
Yes, and they
Wow.
are shit hot, and they fucking hurt. So we're
So
wearing.
they're probably still wearing armor.
Yeah, and you don't want to get too kitted up because you want the whole purpose of this.
I mean,
is,
the bad guys. That
well,
is.
everybody. We're training with a kit on just because we want to be realistic.
Correct.
Right.
But and we got to wear eye pro and face pro because you'll lose a fucking eye. I mean,
Oh, easy.
guys, most guys are wearing a full mask, but I've been hit in the. I mean, it fucking hurts. You're bleeding. But it's that for a reason because
Better than dying.
yes, because you want to be like, look, I'm not gonna stick my head out and take a peek if it's not necessary,
Right.
Yeah.
because it's just fucking hurting. If I get hit, it's gonna hurt.
And that's a trained guy shooting at you more
Yes,
than likely.
right. It's SWAT dudes coming out and shooting at you.
So it's
So
even
he's
harder
like-
than the
and
real
you're
It's like
situation.
paintball
Right,
for
yes.
professionals.
It is. You're like, all right, you got in this scenario, you got 3 bad guys. They're in this big this house.
Mhm.
So imagine you're a SWAT trained dude. You've been a 15-year comp, and you're waiting for a SWAT team to show up. I mean, you're right at the front door, and as soon as they run up, you're blasting them, and then you're running back in the house, and you get into a point of cover that's only you know about. You're killing the lights. You're blasting them again, and they duck back, and you're going, and then eventually you set up an ambush where they come into this room and they see you, and there's Tommy shooting them, and they turn around and shoot Tommy, and then you shoot him. I mean, it's just you're basically fighting yourself.
So what's your number one takeaway from SWAT? I know this is going to be the
Well,
short.
I also there's a point in SWAT. Do you want to talk about the malfunction of the No, okay. So yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to say. So what would your SWAT? I could spend a coon's age on, and just so we're clear, a raccoon lives to be about 2.5 years old.
Not very long.
But that's a long time for us to talk about SWAT, and I could certainly do it. I'm very intrigued by it. I've applied multiple times after leaving Afghanistan to ISP. Very intrigued by special weapons and tactics. But that being said, this is going to be a shorter part of our dialogue just because we're well up over an hour now. But what was your number one takeaway from SWAT, just as a civil servant in the armed forces, in the department of the police? You know what I mean? What was your number one takeaway from SWAT? If it was a life lesson, if it was a police force lesson, if it was anything.
That's more of a
You could
teamwork. We started earlier about I played baseball and being part of a team.
Yeah.
It's a team that functions.
Can you expand on that though? Because you say teamwork, and the listener right now is like, "Oh, teamwork make the dream work." But can you implore how
It's almost like a brotherhood, like Brian and his. But what would you call your group?
I guess I just want you to expand on how important is teamwork. Not just teamwork, but
that's all it is. And every guy knows every job on SWAT. So, just to kind of set the table, we show up like, okay, it's 9:00 right now.
Yeah, 2056.
So we're SWAT guys. We're all working. Let's say I'm at home, and Tommy's on patrol, and you're a detective, but we're all SWAT. They're like, okay, the narcotics unit or the homicide unit has a warrant. They just found it.
Joe Blow.
They figured out where Joe Blow's at. He's got a warrant for murder. Mm-hmm. He's at this house. Rally ASAP at the meeting.
Get it going.
So everybody shows up.
Gear up.
Guys, wanted for murder. We're bringing a lot of dudes in. We're calling everybody, right? There's 21 dudes.
Like off duty, like buying groceries.
Right,
like, oh, sorry, honey, got to go.
Right. I mean, some of the best SWAT call outs are 2:00 in the morning, right? Had a barricaded, shots fired, this guy's in his house.
Fuck, that
needs you guys.
Hot, dude. I'm
and it's not meet at the meeting location. It's meet at fucking, meet
Old
down the
Walmart
street.
parking lot or something.
Yeah, dude.
Right.
Meet me at the Denny's. It's about to go down,
well, I mean,
dude.
like that active shooter on North Kentucky Avenue a few years back. That was a shit hot one. And that was fucking real as it gets. I was driving home. It was Mother's Day. I was driving home from.
Yep.
Right, and I get the call as I'm driving past the scene, but I've got wife and kids in the van. I'm like, I got to get the fuck home. I drove right past all the
drop
cars.
These bitches off.
Yeah. So, but that's an active shooter.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, back to it's 20 dudes.
Yeah, the teamwork
with the same mindset that are all have been trained up to the same standard. Now you do have special guys, like you got snipers.
Yeah, 100%.
You got guys who are specialty.
You
breachers.
couldn't go hit a dude from 900 meters away, moving target.
Not even fucking close.
Any better than that guy could.
And there's a guy, like, say, you're in here holding a hostage, and it's a brick wall. You're in a vault. We got guys who specialize in explosive breaching.
But tit to tit, the average guy, you're stacking on the dude next to you, your tits to his back.
Right.
Like that teamwork.
The rule of thumb is know your job, know the job of the guy in front of you in case he goes down. Like if your job is to throw a flashbang
fatal funnel
at that
baby.
window,
yep.
and you fucking step out of the truck and break your ankle and you're out, guess what? Now I'm throwing a flashbang.
It's your go.
Right. And let's say the guy behind me's got to know the same thing, because I show up, I come in the door, and I'm supposed to, make a beeline to this corner and lay down, suppressive fire, whatever, at the rafters, and I get shot. This guy's got to pick it up. We got to know. But it's guys, like, here's the best way I can describe this. We have a training. Let's say, for example, there's a SWAT training tomorrow.
Yes.
At Red Brush.
Are you being serious? Or are we talking facetiously? Okay, no, I was about to say I'm going to show up with the camera. No, I'm joking.
Training starts at 0700. Okay. I was a team leader the last 5-6 years, whatever.
And that's a big deal, by the way. It is. It is. No, it is.
I wanted to be the first one there,
mm-hmm.
and I never was. There was always one, if not two people there ahead of you.
You didn't drive fast enough.
I mean, I left. I show up 45 minutes ahead of.
You got a light right foot. You got a light right, dude.
There's guys there just waiting. Guys, I mean, you want to be the first one there, and then, all right. We train through lunch. It's 3:00. Everybody get out of here. Clean your weapons. Nobody wants to leave. Everybody wants to be like, everybody's working. Everybody's cleaning up. Everybody's picking up. Guys who run the training are just trying to make sure that you guys show up, and you're going to shoot at this bay on a prone position with the rifle at a target that's this big, and at the same time you're at a different bay and you're sprinting at 50 yards, and then you're shooting with a handgun. And then you guys are, you switch, and then and it's just constant working. And then we're working scenarios like October is in Evansville famous for what? First week of October.
Fall
Festival. So September.
Turn the fuck up, Evansville.
Show up. So September, we are training.
Sorry, guys. I got excited.
We are training to deal with an active shooter at the Fall Festival. They've got
absolutely. You got guys on the roof.
Yeah.
100%.
That's right.
He's been on Gers.
That's awesome. That's a great job.
We're gonna get into that.
But you run in, you're like, all right, here's the scenario. First of all, sprint 50 yards, sprint back, do 30 push-ups, and then you come in and you're breathing hot with all your kit on. Now,
stress shoot.
Run through. Yes, stress shoot. There's 15 targets, and you got to clear them all, and there's one target, and you got this much. That's the way it would be, and that's what we do.
If you're not familiar with what he's talking about, like a stress shoot is just like he just said. They put you through the ringer, they smoke your dick off, and by that I mean push-ups, sit-ups, pull-ups, running, sprinting, lifting weights. Go over here, get in the water, get out of the water, die, fucking wake up, alive, die again, wake up, and then they hand you a gun and they're like, hey, there's 4 targets, one's 150 meters, another's 200, and 2 are 500. Shoot them 1 round each. And that's what a stress shoot is. It is the most stressful situation you can put the human body through. Your heart's racing, your body's shaking, you're cold, you're hot, you don't know what's going on, you're wet. It doesn't matter if you've been in the water. I mean, you're worn out. You're worn the fuck out. They can wear you out in what, 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes. 5 minutes even.
Put your kit on.
And then shoot.
Put
and 50, then shoot.
Put 50 pounds of kit on.
Yeah.
Sprint 50 yards. Do 20 push-ups. Sprint 50 yards back. Pick up your gun.
Yeah.
And then shoot at a target the size of a Post-it note. And don't miss.
And one shot.
And if you miss, right? Yes. And if you miss,
do it again.
You've done it. You've missed in front of 20 dudes who didn't miss.
Yeah.
Right. And
there's 20 dudes looking at you like.
I mean, guys have been kicked off the SWAT team. Guys have been removed. Guys have been told.
There's a reason why, though. There's a reason why, because
and you're putting your life and your brother or your teammates.
Well, not even that. You're putting the civilians' lives in the hands of that individual. Right. It's like that Post-it note is more than a goddamn Post-it note.
So you said like the ideology. Imagine going to work with 20 dudes who they all want to be the best version of themselves. They all want to put you ahead of them. They all want to do what's right. They all want to be the best. And they're all like-minded. I mean, it's like it's the best thing ever.
It's got to be a weird world to be
in.
And
then you have a competitive attitude.
But healthy.
I'm out there. I want to beat this guy in a sprint. I want to outshoot him. There's guys out there that can fucking shoot the wings off a fly at 30 yards.
Oh yeah.
You want to beat him. You want to match up and shoot against him in a competition. You want to outrun him. I mean, I was an older guy, couldn't, but I wanted to.
But the bottom line is the teamwork that you brought up.
Yes.
The number one thing you took away from SWAT was
the teamwork. The mindset is the most important.
But it's so easy for people. You can say this at work. You can say this anywhere. Teamwork. Oh, what makes everything work? Teamwork. Oh, well, what are we going to do? Teamwork. Okay, but what does teamwork mean to you? Teamwork means to this gentleman here knowing the job in front of you, knowing the job behind you, knowing the job 2 spots in front of you, knowing the job 2 spots behind you,
and trying to constantly be better.
And it's inside and out. Teamwork is more than just like knowing your job and being good at it and trying to be a leader, setting a standard.
It's trusting the guys with you.
It's a trust.
No,
that
like
if I break my ankle, you're gonna scoop. You're gonna there's a guy designated to scoop me up, and he knows that, and he's gonna scoop me up and pull me away, and then the other guy is designated to take over my job.
These guys, the SWAT
that's
guys,
teamwork.
These SWAT guys are the absolute they're professionals.
Yeah, dude.
Right.
I just had to. That's why I asked you what was the number one takeaway? You said teamwork, and I said, please elaborate, because I know it means more than just the word teammate or teamwork to you, or teammate.
Absolute trust in that everybody you're with is an absolute professional.
Absolutely.
And they know the job from beginning, and you trust them
top to bottom,
100%,
inside and out.
Right?
What advice would you give to somebody out there that wants to be in law enforcement?
In this day and age, it really helps.
It's a dicey time too.
It helps to have a lot of life experience. It really does.
Yeah.
To have walked, to have done a bunch of different things in your life.
So maybe you're close to 30.
Okay.
I'm just saying, to elaborate on your point.
Right.
Maybe you're not 23.
Right. Having a couple jobs where you were successful. Maybe dealing with a child or children, raised children.
Yeah.
Taking care of people, managing a home, managing a career, making good decisions in your life.
Being a part of something that's bigger than yourself.
Well, I mean, a lot of people don't have that opportunity, but being able to conduct yourself in an adult, mature manner. You walk into
positively.
Yes, and you walk into a bar. Like if I walked in here and you guys are both lighting up joints, I'm going to shake your hands and I'm going to walk out.
I'm out, dude.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, hey, you do you. Right. 10 years from now, maybe we'll light it up.
Yeah, who knows?
That's
Might
one
be-
of those deals.
Might be
It's
legal
just-
in 10 years.
Right. And I don't, it's just one of those deals.
Tommy hopes it is.
Right. I mean, and you know what? I do, and I love Tommy. I do not care,
Nux, dog.
You walk in and, you got the guy next door who's
Yeah,
slapping
dude.
the piss out of his wife in the front yard.
That'll never be legal.
I'm taking care of that. I'm going to deal with that.
Right.
I may not put my hands on the guy, but I'm going to talk to the guy and I'm calling I'm calling 911. You're being mature. You know when to enter yourself in a situation or get out of a situation. You know when to shut your mouth. We were looking at that video earlier where the guy got stabbed in the jugular.
Oh, God, that was bad. Yeah.
How easy would that be for that guy to grab his buddies
Go.
and be like,
walk
you know
away.
what? Guy's got a knife.
Yeah,
He
go.
wins.
Go.
Are we pussies? Whatever. We're
Whatever.
alive.
Live
Yeah.
to see another
This
This
day.
guy's going to stab somebody else. It ain't going to be me and my buddies.
Yeah.
And it.
So your advice to those guys, to the guys or anybody or guys or girls, guys
Or ghouls.
girls or ghouls or girls.
Whatever you identify as.
If whatever your pronoun may be, ghoul, go, girl, Yahtzee, it doesn't matter. If you're planning on joining the police force or any their sorts of, what we're saying here or what I'm gathering is that life experience,
Experience.
at least now in the 2020s,
Yes.
life experience goes a long way.
It does. But, and obviously if you're 23, you may not have that. But if you're 23 and you
And
served
have
3
respect.
years in the military, you've got a lot more than a guy who just rolled out of college, But are you a social person?
I have a
Can
question
you
on
talk
this.
to people?
I have one more question. This is literally my last question for the interview, and I'll let you take it, Thomas. Do you find that okay, so you said it could be a 23-year-old that came back from service, or it could be a 23-year-old that just graduated from college. And I want you to take a second to think about this question that I'm going to give you, because it's a difficult question. And if you don't want to answer, that's fine. Normally, we don't do heavy questions like this, but it just hit me. So, do you think that if I, at 20, what would I have been when I got out? 2023, I would have been 23 or 24 years old, got out of Afghanistan, came straight here and said, I want to be an ISP SWAT operator. And then I go join ISP, and then I become an operator, and I do SWAT for X amount of years or whatever. And then the college kid gets overlooked. I guess it's hard for me to word my question. I'm trying to figure it out. My question is that, do you think that my violent nature, because in Afghanistan, I told you, I kind of distinguished the difference between you and I. The difference between you and I is you can roll up not called on a scene and it not be hostile.
Right.
Most of the time where I was in Afghanistan, when you rolled up on a scene,
Right.
it's mostly hostile most of the time.
Right.
Nobody likes you. Nobody wants you there. In a situation like Afghanistan, you're just nobody's friend.
Right.
So like aggressive, violent all the time. You're shaking and ready to party at any given moment.
Mm-hmm.
So I get hired as SWAT, and then I come into that same situation as the guy that was 23, just graduated from criminal justice from USI. In a barrel pointed at a bad guy situation, which one are you picking? Now, keep in mind, no life experience, like you just said. Dark, ready to fucking roll history, like I've explained.
Right.
Who do you pick?
You know,
And if you don't want to answer this
no,
question, that's fine.
I don't think you can.
It's a very divisive question,
Right.
but yeah.
But that's limited information. Here's,
But you see
some
the
of
point,
some of the
though.
best guys on SWAT that I know of right now. Let's see. There's a Marine in charge. There's a Marine on the team, 2 Marines, Army.
You guys go through a lot of crowns, is what you're saying.
There's a lot of guys who get the benefit of the doubt because of that, but they turn out they're good dudes. There's also been guys who are Army or Marines who just, they were Army or Marine, but they can't common sense. They can't communicate. They can't talk to people.
Mm-hmm.
So I think you throw that out the window because,
That's arbitrary.
a guy who shows up and his job is to just kill everybody with a machine gun.
Right.
Great. But can he go in there and talk down a guy?
De-arm a
Right.
situation.
Right.
That's actually a good point.
In my opinion,
do you think that I don't know, man. Like,
Army military guy gets the benefit of the doubt to start.
okay,
Right? He starts out
because
with a plus one.
23-year-old from USI, you don't know your elbow from your ass.
100%.
Yeah.
You start out ahead of the game. Now, what you do, how you interact with the team.
It can get you
people,
benched, essentially.
Right, yes, 100%. 95% of police work is talking to people. And I got to be honest, these younger kids who are TikToking and...
Jesus fuck Christ. They can't talk to the goddamn drywall. They get nervous talking to the drywall.
Right. So
Okay.
if you can bullshit with people and talk to people and show up and be like, just and not have to worry about anything or talk people down or give them a sense of, hey, look, man, it's the worst day of your life. Your wife left you. I know you're having terrible thoughts about something, but
check it out.
We don't want a fucking permanent solution to a problem.
We don't want to make it any worse than it already is.
So can you communicate?
And
can you communicate? And can you get along?
And I want you guys to know, after what he's just said tonight, know that Brian Michael Day will be applying for the ISP for the 15th time and also SWAT team. No, I'm just joking.
Apply for EPD, man. Don't chase taillights for that ISP.
Dude, I'm not trying to get shot in the shoulder over some fucking an ounce of crack. I'll be honest with you, but that was my deciding factor. I never applied for EPD. I don't want to fucking do it. Fuck them. Fuck that. And
it's a good
no
job.
offense. I know. They both pay great. ISP pays a little better, and you're riding the interstate. So it's really what you want. Like, I've been shot at enough. I've been shot at enough.
Well, I get that from your viewpoint. I get that.
I've been shot at enough. I've been shot at more times than anybody fucking wants to be shot at.
With that mentality, I understand.
Yeah,
exactly
so you get worn out. But like chasing taillights, and then maybe SWAT, okay.
Right.
But
they do have full-time SWAT team.
Thomas had a question for you. So
through
all that,
as we start to wrap up, was there ever a moment in this time in law enforcement where you're just like, man, like, fuck this, like, law enforcement isn't for me, like, I don't want to do this anymore, or like shit got too dicey? Or was there ever a moment where you were like, fuck, that was dark, that hit hard, and like what pushed you through those times where like maybe you didn't think about throwing in the towel, but it was hard, like, you saw some shit that rattled you, like what pushed you through that? You don't have to necessarily talk on the dark moment.
No,
but...
that's a good question.
And just know that, no details are needed if you want to be as vague or as if you don't want to give anything, and then just give us what pulled you through it. Whatever you want.
That's a good question, and this is kind of it's a catch-22 that worked for me for a long time and then worked against me when we were talking about the long-term PTSD. Okay. So when I was working sex crimes cases, I liked the work for years. And it got to the point where I was done listening to the worst things people can do to children or to anybody, right?
Right.
So, but I knew I was good enough at it. I needed to stay at this job because I was making arrests and making cases.
You're stopping bad things.
And putting bad people in prison and helping victims. So got to a point where I had an office and I took a couple of pictures of some victims. There was a little girl. She was like 8. I just had her face. And there was a boy and he was like 6. And I had their pictures on the wall near my desk. And so that was my motivation, right? Those were 2 cases where they were terrible situations. Nobody ever wants to hear the story about what happened to those kids. But I worked them, and people went to prison, and they're better off. Their lives got better because the hard work that I did, and everything else, it came to a good ending. So that was motivation for a couple years after I started to get the burnout, right? And then it got to the point where every day I went to work, I'm seeing these faces. And it started turning into the long-term.
Like a constant reminder.
PTSD, right? Like, you've got to do this. You've got to do this. Doesn't matter how bad, you're burnt. You're done with these cases, but only you can help this kid, which is not true. There's good detectives that took my spot and other spots too. They're doing good work. And, it wasn't up to me to make the world better. I did my part and I had to move on. So for a while I had these, and I remember people coming in, oh, those are your kids. I'm like, no, those are victims.
Right.
And they motivated me to keep working hard, to answer the phone at 2 a.m., to go in and work these cases and listen to this shit.
Because those were somebody's kids,
Right. And if it wasn't for me, who else? And it turned out that after a while, I'm like, it wasn't for me. Somebody else when I leave, somebody's taking my spot and they'll do just as good a job, if they're dedicated. And that's the way it was. But I wish I'd never hung those pictures up. It did motivate me for a little bit, but motivation has to come from from within, not from I got to do this for Jenny or I got to
Right.
do this for my family. I've got to do this until when it's time to be done. I've got to move on.
Okay.
You know, so it's one of those that
It's not easy, man.
Right.
now I
Yeah.
wouldn't wish that job on anybody.
Right.
No, fuck
But
no.
I felt like of all the difference I've ever made in my 25-year plus career, the biggest differences were in that unit, you know, helping kids get away from a terrible situation and putting some absolute predators in prison, even if it's just
Right.
for a little bit.
Right.
Fucking terrible
Well,
goddamn pieces of shit.
Mike, we
Eat
want to
shit
thank you
and
for
die
your
in a river.
service as well.
Sorry, guys.
Don't get me started on a capital
I know,
punishment.
man. I'm sorry.
We want to
fucking
thank you for your
bothered.
service. I know that police officers don't hear that enough, honestly. I mean, you hear it a lot to you know, the military and everything, but like I feel like police officers don't get that, and we want to say thank you for your service. And then as well, this last few minutes is for you. Shout out, you know, anybody that you want to shout out who's helped you in your career or anything along those ways.
My wife,
Right.
nothing but supportive from beginning to end and beyond. So
And I don't want to ask. You know what? Yeah, just 100% hats off to your wife, because women that deal with
she doesn't wear a hat.
But it's still hard for. She still supports
but-
you. And,
I don't know how to say it, man. I'm trying to transition out of that rough last fucking 2 minutes we just made it through. But
Sorry to bring the house down.
no, you're good,
No,
man.
that's why we ask
My
it.
nipples hurt. To be
we
honest,
try to
with
show
you.
people that like life can be grim, but like as long as you push through it, you know what I mean. Like that's part of the show. Is like we want to show like, you know, life can be hard and all this stuff, but like you can push through it. You can learn a lesson, you know, and like you know, somebody's fuel to the fire. You know, you're making a difference. You know, like as long as you keep
Make a
focused-
positive difference in the life of somebody else, and you've justified your existence.
Exactly.
Can't say
And,
that.
and if I may, like, oh, dude, no one has seen it. We've seen so many guests come in and out of here with awful stories, great stories, horrible beginnings, okay beginnings, great beginnings. It doesn't matter. And we get to this portion where they're motivated, and nobody knows motivation like a fucking warrior knows motivation, and you being a warrior of, you know, the people. So Jesus fucking Christ, dude, you
I
couldn't
know.
have got us a better guest this week.
I know, it's amazing. Thanks again, man. This is such a great story. and I'm
Dude,
glad we were
Glad to
able
do it.
I just God bless you, and keep your head on a swivel.
And thanks to
Okay?
all of the law enforcement out there.
Jesus Christ, yeah, you guys are crushing it. And then again, if you guys are just listening and you're wondering about what we're talking about, like this goddamn Chevy Chevette, check us out on YouTube. You'll see that on there. The screen recording is there. Go ahead, take a peek. It's a shitty car, but it comes in multicolors. Thank you to everybody on Apple Podcasts leaving us some reviews and subscribing on Spotify, YouTube, everywhere. Thank you guys so much. We love you very, very much. Thomas sucks dicks. This has been a thrilling episode of the Days Grimm. My name is Brian Michael Day.
My name is Thomas, apparently Dick Sucking Grimm. And thanks again, Mike, for being in the podcast.
Mike, god damn it.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. Man, that was a good one. Oh, fuck, dude. I tapped out in the last couple of minutes.
Yeah, the bathroom.
All the stairs. Right past the black gate. Top of the stairs.
Hey guys, if you liked what you heard today, there will be a new episode next Tuesday, as well as every Tuesday at 6 a.m. So hit that subscribe button and let your phone do all the work for you.